gentlemen, welcome to Ariel Helwani's MMA Show!
Back in your life on this Monday, April 15th, 2019. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani. Welcome back to the program. Hope you had a lovely weekend. Yes, I am back from Hotlanta, the dirty South, the dirty, the ATL. I know you're all going to be very sad that I can't do that whole routine anymore, but I think it retires after today's show. It's good to be back. UFC 236 is in the books, and I must say, and I don't have a lot of time to say this at the top, and I won't get too into it, but it's been a challenging couple months for yours truly. I've had to swallow a lot of razor blades, and I'll leave it at that. If you're perceptive, you'll understand what I'm talking about, but it's not that important. But the only thing I want to say is, on Saturday night for around 90 minutes, Israel Adesanya, Kelvin Gastelum, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway reminded me, and I think a lot of you, why we love this sport so much. We owe them a thank you. We owe them a debt of gratitude. Those 90 minutes or so were some of the best in the history of this sport. If Adesanya and Gastelum don't get that award in December, the Nose Award for Fight of the Year, something crazy happened, because that's one of the greatest fights I've ever seen. I was honored to be there. I'm in awe of those four men, and I can't wait to talk about those four fights in particular and what else happened Saturday in Atlanta. Let me run down the lineup and get to our first guest, because he is patiently waiting. He has a flight to catch. 3:45, we're going to be joined by the reigning defending UFC middleweight champion, Robert Whittaker. Get his thoughts on Saturday. Jordan Burroughs, the 2012 Olympic gold medalist in freestyle wrestling, will join us at 3:25. 3:05, Mike Brown, Dustin Poirier's head coach, will join us. Daniel Straus, the former Bellator featherweight champion, will join us at 2:45. He has an insane story. Stick around for that. Khalil Rountree had a big win on Saturday. He'll join us at 2:25. Brandon Davis looked amazing in his bantamweight debut. He'll join us at 2:05. Valentina Shevchenko is a superstar back home. She'll join us at 1:45, and 1:25, the great Dominick Cruz will join us. But first, let us not waste any time and say hello to the man who stole the show in Hotlanta. The man who is now the new UFC interim middleweight champion. The last stylebender called it. He did it. He said it. And now he's joining us. And if I was in Atlanta right now, I would go over there and I would kiss his puffy face, because this man has not changed on us. He has not changed. He has not forgotten about his media friends. He is willing and able to do everything, even with the puffy face. I can't believe it. He is a true mensch of all mensches. Israel, how are you?
I'm feeling like a dumpling right now. I'm feeling real, like you said, like Puff Daddy. But yeah, I feel like a champ. I feel like a fucking champion.
Well done, my man. Honestly, I'm in awe of you right now. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I view you differently. I view you differently after what you did on Saturday.
I don't view you differently. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, my respect, if it was even possible, my respect for you grew even more. That was such an incredible fight. It was so amazing what both of you did. And congratulations, you deserve to win that fight. What you did in the 5th round was nothing short of amazing. But before we get to all of that, first let me ask you, how are you feeling? Truly, physically, how are you feeling on this Monday morning?
So after the fight, my offense from the leg kicks, a little bit ankle sore. But apart from that, my face is just puffy. I'm already swelling down. Like I told you, I got the healing factor like Deadpool. So my face is shrinking. It's shrinking. And yeah, I'm about to fly over the East Coast, and yeah, I'm sure within the next 2-3 days, it's gonna even shrink more, and I'll have my cheekbones back.
How many stitches?
Just under that one. I didn't ask. I don't know, maybe 10.
Okay. You've been in a lot of fights, MMA, kickboxing. You've done it all at this point. Would you say that was your toughest fight? Like that took the most out of you? That was the most damage you received in a fight?
Yeah, 100%. Before this fight, I said my last fight with Anderson Silva for me was the hardest fight for me to get, like not prepared for, but to like overcome mentally, the barrier I had to overcome before the fight to face Anderson because of who he was to me. This fight, it was about the mental barrier I had to overcome during the fight. During the fight, that really showed me who I was, and man, I'm a fucking champ, and so is he. You know, I can't do this without him. You need two of us to tango, two of us to merengue. And man, he was a very, very good dance partner, a very tough dance partner. And I'm grateful for what we did in there, man. It was fucking magical. It was some movie type shit.
Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy that process, or would you prefer a quick fight, get in, get out?
Hey, I want to get in and get out, you know. Get in, get out, fuck them up. And that was the plan. He was saying early on in the fight, like, a lot of people just think for some reason he doesn't have powers. And he said, I don't have pop in my hands. That's what he said. I popped him many times. And it's like I said, it's not about power. I don't always throw my power. I don't always have to. You just have to touch them in the right place. I hit sharp. And, man, fuck. I popped him real good.
Yeah, the spinning back elbow, what you did in the 5th round in particular. I'm curious, what did your coach tell you? What did Eugene and the rest of your corner tell you going into the 5th? Because what you were able to do when it seemed like maybe you guys were slowing down, I had a 2-2 going into the 5th. You got a 10-8 in my books in the 5th, which is just insane, and we're very close to finishing him. Was there anything that he said to get you into that next gear?
All right, let me set a scene for you.
Please.
I agree. After watching the fight objectively twice so far, I'm gonna watch it again when I get home.
Okay.
Or before that as well. 2-2 going into the 5th round. We get there, and the Eugene wasn't even no technical advice really. He just said, "You need to go to that place. You need to go to that place." And I've heard that before when he said it to me on the Airdyne. There's many times when I'm on the Airdyne, and he talks about, he yells at you, "Go to that place, that place that you get uncomfortable, and you go past it. You have to break that mental barrier, because a lot of times when you're on the Airdyne and you're pushing, you can kind of cruise. You can just you're pushing yourself, but you're not really pushing. There's always that next level. So you need to go to that place." And I could hear my teammate Brad Riddell, who also won in the weekend. Shout out to Brad Riddell, the Quake. He normally says, "Bro, go numb, bro." Like, I made friends with the darkness. I went to that place, and then I stood up. I wouldn't even sit down. I never sat down during the fight, during the corners. So I was standing there, and I looked across at him, and I said to him, "I'm willing to die. I'm prepared to die. Ayabiekun. In Yoruba, that means heart of a lion." Excuse me. So yeah, I was ready to go out on my shield. But guess what? If I'm willing to die, I'm willing to kill. And I went for the kill, man. Oh, fuck. And there's even one point I hit him with something, and he was rocked. He stumbled back, and I went, "Let's go. Hola there." I was fucking ready, bro, honestly. And for me, I knew I had that in me, but I never ever thought I'd have to use that. I never ever thought I'd have to get to that point. But hey, we all need these. Like Eugene was after the fight, you need that. You can't do that in the gym. If you do, you're stupid, because you don't get paid in the gym. But you need those fights, because it shows you what you're capable of as a human, the human potential. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful I went to that place, and I'm grateful that I pushed through, and I was able to overcome that adversity and become the new middleweight champion of the UFC.
At any point were you worried? At any point did he have you rocked? You thought that maybe you were on the ropes?
Nope, not the first round. The first round, I caught myself pretty well. That was like a flash knockdown, but I didn't even hit the ground. I had good balance. The 4th round, that was the one. I wasn't like worried, like, "Oh, I'm about to go out." I was just like, okay, I don't. What coach ever said, if you get rocked, wave them in for more? Some guys are so stupid when they do that, and they just like get their egos and like try and throw more. But for me, I thought it was a punch, but then Eugene said it was a kick. So, and someone asked Eugene afterwards, like, "What do you think about that?" And then Eugene said that was a masterful piece of shot selection from Kelvin Gastelum, and I agree, because a nigga never kicked in the head before, or like, not that I've seen in a long time, but somehow he reaches my neck from that high. And the way he did it, he kind of like stutter stepped in, and then he threw it, he hit it behind his straight left. It was pretty, it was beautiful. And I kind of wobbled, but then I kept my composure. But then he saw I was rocked, and then he kind of rushed for the kill. And then he gassed himself out and went for the takedown. So that was the only time I kind of felt like I might have been in trouble, but I recovered pretty quickly. Like, when people say, "Oh, he has a granite chin," you get hit a lot. That's all I think. Even when I met Tyrone Spong again, and I think I met him in China, because he saw me fight in Turkey. He's like, "Oh, bro, you got a hard chin." I was like, no thanks. Like, I don't want to be known for that, but I'm hard to. I trust me. I spar with guys like Junior Fa, is a heavyweight boxer, and he's not even going 100% on me. But I've caught some of his shots before. Stephen Warby, a light heavyweight at my gym, who I've ate one of his uppercuts before when we were having one of those spars. And I know myself. I know I could take some shots, but I don't want to, because I don't like looking like a dumpling all the time.
Your moment afterwards with your coach Eugene Behrman, who is getting a lot more recognition now, and rightfully so, the head man over at City Kickboxing, was amazing because I know he doesn't like to get the attention. I know he doesn't like to do interviews. And I was told afterwards by our guy Ash, I was told that he actually leaves the cage. He doesn't actually go in the cage after your fights. That was a rare time that he went in there. Did you recognize it? And is that why you did what you did towards him? You paid homage to him like that?
No, I just pay it like I force him now. Even pictures, like at first he never likes to standing. He just go normally at local shows, he'll just go backstage for the next fighter. And I'm like, no. After like my I like look, there's certain moments you have to capture on picture because like that one, that's a beautiful moment because
Incredible.
like my teammate Jamie Vanderkill, he's passed away. But there's sometimes I'll go on his Facebook or his Instagram, or I'll go on my one or my archives of photos in my phone, and I'll see pictures that remind me of those moments. And I'm glad we have those because they were beautiful moments. So I told him like, you need to stick around and take these photos. But yeah, he normally likes to just rush out of the cage and fuck off. But for that, I'm glad he stayed, and I already planned to give him that belt. I planned that moment already for so long, even before the fight. Long before the fight, I knew that. Like the way I visualize these things, Ariel, I'm like player one. I keep manifesting and fucking controlling everything to the way exactly well, not exactly, but how I wanted to. And yeah, that was just a beautiful moment because that guy, without him, my career would be in the shitter. He invested in me since day one. He just invested in me. He lost money traveling the world with me. It's not even about money, but he, like that to me, showed like he cared. And for me to be able to not just pay him back financially, but to pay him back in work and in heart, some things you can't buy. Like, yeah, it was one of the best moments of my life.
Wow. And to have your parents there as well was beautiful. I had an opportunity to meet them and your sister. Really cool to see them all in the cage. And that photo, I was going to ask you about that photo. So beautiful of you and Kelvin together. I don't think the regular human being out there who doesn't possess what you guys possess, like we don't have that DNA in us to do what you guys did on Saturday. I don't think
Which
we really.
photo? I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, this one right here of you and Kelvin hugging each other. That one. Oh no, sorry, that's you and
That's
Eugene. That's you and Eugene, which was beautiful in its own right. But you and Kelvin afterwards showed each other a lot of respect, and not only that, we just showed the tweets between you two. And I'm just wondering, what is that like? Like you will now be connected to like that's your Hagler Hearns moment, right? Like you will now be connected to this man forever. When you share that, even though you were trying to literally kill the man, you said you were okay to be killed yourself. Now, how do you feel about Kelvin Gastelum? Like 2 days later, that is a bond that I don't think anyone can really truly understand unless they were in your gloves, so to speak.
To be honest, I still feel the exact same way I felt about him before the fight, which was honestly, I'm indifferent, but my respect for the man skyrocketed. And I'm pretty sure I'll see him again when I defend my belts against him because he's going to climb up the ranks and I'll see him again at some point. But my respect for the man, excuse me, has shot up through the roof because, wow, I hit him with, like, he was the one saying before the fight, I didn't see any pop in his punches. Well, he found out.
Yeah.
And he took some of my best shots and he stayed there. I was trying to put him out, especially in that fifth round. I dropped him 3 or 4 times. I rocked him like probably 5 times in that fifth round. I was trying to put him out. I was trying to send him to I think he went to the hospital just to look after himself. But yeah, I was trying to take him out. And fuck, he's tough, man. I said these Mexicans, they're hard to put away. You just said that on the embedded as well. You guys might have caught that. He said you just have to accumulate the damage. He's gonna have a poker face, and he does have a poker face. He doesn't like to show when he's hurt. And that's a beautiful shot. He doesn't like to show when he's hurt. So yeah, I just kept on racking it up. And when I knew, there's a lot of people, bro. Honestly, there's a lot of people I've seen in this game. Because I've done it to some people, I can see when they want to weigh out, and then this is just too much. I can't do this anymore. And then they just like they're fucking weak. They're weak mentally, and they take themselves out. And sometimes, there was even a moment in that fight I could like see that there's that voice that'll try to tell you this is too much or something, and then you want to weigh out, but you never take that option. But a lot of people do, and it doesn't have to be in fighting, but in life, you don't have to. You can just fuck that and push through, So that fight, it showed me who I was. It showed people who I was. I don't really care about them, but I already knew I had this in me. I knew I had this in me, but fuck. I'm proud. I'm proud that me and him got to display our heart and I'm proud that a lot of people got to see that, and we created a moment that's gonna last forever.
So now this obviously sets up the big Robert Whittaker fight, which would be one of the biggest fights, obviously, in Australian MMA, but one of the biggest fights in UFC history in terms of the amount of tickets that you could sell back in Australia for this. And I noticed when you talk about
New Zealand.
I noticed when you talk about Robert, you call him a Mozzie, and you've called yourself the real champion. There seems, am I right in saying that is there some heat there between you two? Can you explain your feelings towards Robert?
Well, put it this way: whenever I've seen him face to face, he's just shakes my hand and keeps it moving. But then I'll hear him talk some shit on, you know, people will say, "Oh, you see what Roy said?" Or they'll send me a link, and I'm like, "What?" Because I've never said anything bad about the guy. So there was one here, like apparently he's like, "Oh, that Israel fella, he's not as good as he thinks he is." I'm like, they're hoping. He even picked Kelvin against me because he thinks Kelvin was going to beat me because he had all the well-rounded tools. Well, I was pretty well-rounded in that fight, wasn't I?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just one of those guys who's hoping. He doesn't want to fight me, so he's hoping for the easier fight with Kelvin. And hey, Robertson for a rude awakening. He's fucking. I can't wait. I said it, man, since day one. Since before I got in the UFC, I said. I remember I was out just before I got outside the gym. I was on the phone to a reporter, and I said, I'll be fighting Robert for the belt if he still has it, somewhere in Auckland later on in 2 years. And the reporter kind of giggled, and I was like, "Oh, you come back. You remember this moment." And whoever that reporter is, I need you to come back so you can say you were right. I don't need you actually. No, fuck that. But I was right. That's all. But yeah, like literally, everyone doubted. They like, "Oh, sure, okay." And then it was Rob Wilkinson. Okay, he got past him. Oh, okay, the fucking Italian juice monkey. Wait till he gets past him. He's gonna. Oh, okay, got past him. Okay, Brad Tavares, that's top 10. Nah, he'll fuck him up. Okay. Oh, not Derek Brunson. He's got reps in NCAA. Okay. Oh, Anderson Silva. He's the GOAT. Oh, but he's old. But he's the GOAT. And then got past him. Oh, Kelvin, this is the one. Nah, this the one. This the one. This the one's gonna take him. Oh, Kelvin knockout. He's gonna take him and put him on his back. It's over. He put me on my back with that sweep. Well, guess what I got him with? Ooh, it's the Rock triangle. I threw it up like a gangster. Fucking hell. And before that, I had his neck. The guy doesn't even have a neck, but I found his neck. I made him like realize, oh shit, I better abort. And he escaped those two submissions pretty well. And all that in the fifth round because I rocked him fucking 3 times. Wow. Crazy. And all in the fifth round. So much action. That's some movie type shit, Ariel.
Yes.
Literally. And guess what? They're going to keep saying, oh, when I'm the champion and I've defended it like 2 times, 3 times, then they're going to be like, oh, wait till he fights. I'm like, fuck off. I don't really care. Like I said, I don't have to prove anyone wrong. I'm proving myself right. Understand that.
By the way, what does Mozzie mean?
So I think his heritage is Modi. So a Modi that moves over to Australia is normally a Mozzie because you call it Australian or Aussie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he moved over. Dude, he's an Australian because he moved over as an infant. His mom is just Modi. That's all.
Okay.
So he doesn't really. I don't even think he likes the connection to New Zealand in that where he likes to be referred to as a Kiwi. He prefers to be referred to as an Aussie, and that's cool. I'm all black. Look at me. I got Africa tattooed on my chest. My heritage is Nigerian, but the school that I come from, where I learned how to fight, the lineage that I come from is from New Zealand. I come from a strong lineage of fighters. Understand that? So, yeah, I can't wait till the All Black smokes the Mozzie, man.
Towards July. Do you hear me now? You hear me?
I can hear you.
I heard they were gunning towards July, August for this fight. Is that enough time for you to do this?
Hey, man, I've done a lot for the company in the last 14 months.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yes. So you want to wait longer? You want some more time?
I will. I will wait longer, but it's up to Eugene, really. Eugene's the head coach. He'll be the one deciding when I'm going to go again because I took a lot of unnecessary damage in that fight. I didn't really have to, but credit to Kelvin because he hit some of his jabs very well. So that's why this side of my face is a little bit puffy. But yeah, I think Eugene will be the one. I'll let Eugene decide when I come back. No one's gonna push me. I already had the power, in a lot of sense with certain things, but I have some more pull now that I have the belt, and there's no need to rush. There's no need to rush because fuck, if the nigga fought, wait, he fought what twice in 3 years, Rob Whittaker, because injury, injury, injury. Well, fuck, in a year I fought how many times? And I've had 6 fights in 14 months. Look, like I said, give me a break. I actually need to look after myself.
Yeah.
I need to, if you want the best fight out of me and him, I need to look after myself. I don't. Okay, maybe in hindsight, actually fuck that. Scratch that. I just want to look after myself. I need to look after myself. So I'm actually gonna take some time off this time. Like even Dana knows I've quit like 2 vacations to fucking make the last 2 fights. So yeah, I mean I need to actually look after myself now, my health, because I'm not in this for a long time. I'm here for a good time, and there's more to life after fighting. After fighting, I want to be a father. I want to be a husband. I want to be a good son. I want to look after my parents. There's a lot of things I want to do, and I want to have my wits about me. So I'm not going to be this guy who just puts his foot on the gas and fuck myself up, and then after fighting, fuck no. So I'm gonna look after myself. Right now, I'm still lucid. I got my wits about me, so I'm gonna be smart about this and just take my time, and then I'll come back when I'm ready.
On Saturday, you didn't want to address John Jones, and I respect that. I'm wondering if on
Motherfucking
Monday.
Jones.
I'm wondering on Monday
I
if
just
you
did
can.
with Luke. I know that's all right. I just did with Luke. So,
But
let me
by the way,
go
do you know
ahead.
he deleted his tweets about you? Did you
Mm,
know that?
no, you never delete tweets. Interesting. You get some backlash.
I
Oh, you
just
get some
I
backlash.
wanted to read them, and I'm sure you saw them, but then I noticed he deleted them. So what do you make of him now? What do you make of him saying what he said about you the last, even before the fight and after the fight?
So John Jones, he literally just reminds me of what I've hated most in life, and that's bullies. I've had them throughout high school, coming up, and literally he's a jock, he's a cock, and he's a cunt. And I'll tell you why. He's picking the right times. He's a smart boy. Listen, he knows I'm a challenge. John Jones likes to look for challenges. So there's a reason he started all this. He's the one that came up openly and called me out and said, I like to fight Israel Adesanya and da 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 da. Because he knows I'm a threat. But guess what? I've said this for so long. If you want to beat me, do it yesterday. Because Ariel, you know this. Every fucking fight, I get better. I get better every fight. So he wants to try and get me out early on when he knows I'm only a year in the UFC and I'm still learning. I only just learned how to do guillotines like 3 months ago, and I snatched it on Gastelum. You know what I mean? So I'm still learning the game. So he's trying to jump the gun and get me out early. That's fucked up. I've got Jacare and all these other middleweights. I still got to get through. Jacare, hopefully, if he gets past the Joker and I get past Robert, then that'll be the fight. So yeah, I've got all these guys I have to get past through, but he's trying to jump the gun because he wants to get me out early. I think that's fucked, and I think he just came across like a dick. Honestly, he just came across like a shit cunt. I'm a good cunt. He's a shit cunt, and guess what? I'm everything he wished he could have been when he first came in the UFC and started. Oh, I want to be. I made this joke with Luke before. Oh, I want to be the, Nike sponsor. Praise be to God. All that kind of shit. That was him. Literally, he was and fucking crashing and roids and hiding under the cage and blah 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 blah, all that kind of shit. And guess what? I was a fan. UFC 94. I watched him fuck up Stephen Bonner. I'm like, holy shit, this motherfucker's amazing. I want to learn wrestling like that because I'm a tall black guy. But he just came across like a piece of shit, a dick. And for me, I don't like bullies. I detest bullies. So he's gonna get this work, but not until I am ready. Not until I'm ready to give him this work. And I not, dude, trust me, I can fight him right now and I'll give him work. But I want to fight him when I know I can fuck him up. I'm still learning. My guard game is still getting ready. If he wants to stand up, I'll fuck him up. Honestly, his stand up ain't shit to me. Look at the way he fought against Smith. Heart of a Lion Smith, but look at the way he's like, no thanks. But put it this way, right now he's the best pound for pound, right? Right? Maybe.
Maybe.
Asterisk.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe. So I'm player one. He is the boss in the final game, in the game, the final boss. I still got some people to beat, some bosses to beat in between. And let me just defend my belt a few times. I don't have to do a fucking Anderson Silva 12 or 16 fight title run or whatever. I don't want that. let me just beat all the top middleweights in my division, all the relevant ones, just once, and then I'll move up for a super fight with John Jones. But he's trying to. He's a smart guy. He's the one who started this because he knows I'm a threat, and he know, like I said, I'm everything. Look, even after I did what I did last year, he came out and said, "I want to be an active champion now. I want to fight at least 4 or 5 times a year." Guess why? And guess why now he's starting to be a little bit more open about his partying and the way he lives because he's been watching me. I told you before the UFC after my UFC 221 in the interview, I said to John Anik like they keep watching me and act like they don't fucking watch me and they fucking know who I am now. They're watching me and studying what I'm doing because I'm doing everything right, sort of. But yeah, I'm doing it my way anyway. So yeah, he's trying to say, "Oh, I want to be an active champion now," and he's trying to be a little bit more open about and stop being fake because people can smell through the fake shit that he was. He was being a fake, Oh, but I didn't realize he deleted the tweet. That's interesting. I wonder who made him delete them. You
Yeah.
never delete tweets. You never delete tweets, and you lose. If you say something, stand by it. So what I read was something called me daddy in the third. Did he delete that? Did he delete that?
Yeah. He deleted both, and then he said something like, "Now it is about you now," because you said it's not about him, and no, we're going to talk about. He said something after the fight as well, but the tweet is gone.
Wow, what a bitch. Oh, airplane.
Yeah, you
Okay,
guys
what's
got to
happening
go.
now?
You guys got to go. You guys got to go
Okay.
catch a flight. I don't want to take up more of your
Yeah,
time, Izzy. You're the man.
all
Thank you
good.
so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a fight again. I am in
Mwah.
awe of what you
I
did.
appreciate you guys, man.
Keep doing your thing, my man.
Well,
Congrats.
always, man. But hey, respect to you, Ariel, and everyone in the game. I appreciate you, Kelvin. You're a bad motherfucker. I just want to say, message to Kelvin. We'll see each other again. You will climb up the ranks, and I'll probably defend my belt against you. But what we did in there, they will never take away from us. That's some movie type shit. That's some Rocky type shit. And thank you for being a great dance partner, a great salsa partner for me to party with. And I appreciate that.
All the best to you, Izzy.
Gracias.
Safe travels. There he is.
Respect.
Interim champion, middleweight division, Israel Adesanya. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm looking right here. Now, we do know that John Jones has deleted tweets in the past. That's not news per se. But I didn't think that those were he was going in. I wonder why he does that. I thought he was kind of over the deleting of tweets, but holy smokes, what a promo that was, right? I mean, wow. UFC, bottle that one up whenever those two fight. If they do fight, maybe in a year or so, year and a half, 2 years. Man, impressive. That was great. That was fire. I'm glad he saved it for the show and not for Saturday night at the post-fight press conference. Okay, so that's Israel's story. Later on, we'll talk to Mike Brown, of course, head coach for one, Dustin Poirier. We've got a lot more as far as 236 post-fight reaction is concerned. But for now, let us say hello to our next guest. Always a pleasure to be joined by the one and only Dominick Cruz. There he is, standing by. Dominick,
Hi.
how are you?
What's up? Good. How are you, Ariel?
Wow, I have so much to ask you about, but first I'm just dying to know, Israel Adesanya, from your perspective, one of the greatest minds in the history of the sport. Can you tell us if you were impressed by what he did on Saturday?
I mean, of course. How can you not be impressed, These guys, at the level that they're competing at, we've got a new level of athlete because we don't just have super athletes now that are highly athletic, explosive, strong. Calvin and Israel both have that. But now we've got guys that are understanding how to move and making reads and making adjustments. And when you watched this sport 10 years ago, you weren't seeing any of the techniques that Adesanya used. You weren't seeing any of the techniques that almost 100% of the UFC is using now. Angles, switching stance, spin attacks, spinning kicks, spinning back fists. I mean, we see those things a little bit here and there in the day, but now it's all the time. And so there's just levels to this thing, and it's fun to watch the sport continue to explode.
Okay, now, as far as you are concerned, I think you're in Vegas right now, correct?
Yeah, I'm actually at the Performance Center. I got a workout to do right now. I just did PT on my shoulder.
Yes.
And, and then that's it.
You've been chronicling your road back to recovery, back to 100% health on Instagram, and I appreciate it. How are you feeling right now? How is the shoulder?
It's feeling really good. In the past, I didn't post a lot of stuff about my injuries and my comebacks because, I had my own boxes that I was putting myself in. I had my own belief systems. As things have gone through with all the injuries that I've sustained at this point, I've realized that whether I like it or not, part of my story, most of my story is injuries and coming back from them. And so it's only fair that I share that with people for them to get through their own injuries. So I'm doing most I can to give that out to others so that they can understand what can be done when they have their own injuries. I get so many questions about it.
What kind of timeline are we looking at?
Ariel, it's the shoulder when you first tear the tendon that I did. Labram's different. Labram's a little bit quicker than what I did. I tore the tendon actually off the bone, which is the subscapularis tendon. I tore off the bone. So now that they chopped that a little shorter and pushed it into the bone, it'll be stronger than it was before the surgery, before ever. So I won't have to worry about it again, but it's a 6-month surgery total. I'm about halfway through.
Okay, so perhaps third, fourth quarter of this year is reasonable?
Yeah, it's reasonable, definitely. Okay. And I'm always trying to be back as soon as possible, but with what I've done, I've been out long enough. I mean, what's another couple months going to do at this point?
Now, I don't know if you'll be surprised to hear this out of my mouth, but I am dying to know your thoughts on Tj Dillashaw's suspension. And we found out last week that he tested positive for EPO, and then they went back and tested him again from a test that they said he initially passed in December of this past year, 28th to be exact. They said that he had EPO in his system back then. What do you make of this?
Well, what do I make of this? It's just such a broad question. What do you actually want to know, Ariel?
Were you surprised when you heard about this?
I'm not. I don't really have any kind of attachment to any kind of drug testing. And I really don't, of anybody, because there's just no point. I can't control it. That's USADA's job. It's the UFC's job. So was I surprised? I wouldn't have been surprised if he did or he didn't test dirty, to be honest.
Okay. A lot of people have come out and said, oh, of course, we knew this. Cody has talked about this. Other foes, Team Alpha Male people, saying that this is something that has been talked about in the community. Was this something that you had heard about him in the past, that he was cheating?
Well, I mean, if you heard what Cody said, he said that, and in the press conference, I was shocked that he said it. He said, TJ taught Team Alpha Male how to use it. I'm like, really? And then you're going to sit here and say that he's the only one using it? It just makes no sense. You just said that he taught the whole team. So it's just interesting to me. And of course, you hear them say that we've been saying this. Urijah Faber, I'm surprised he didn't get caught earlier.
Yeah.
Cody, I'm surprised he didn't get caught earlier. All this stuff, but it's like, man, you were part of his camp while he taught you guys. So what are you really talking about?
Right. So you feel like they're almost indicting themselves as well while they're trying to throw dirt on him?
I'm not saying that. I just don't see what the logic was in saying that. It just made no sense. It's like you're throwing yourself under the bus with him. He's part of your team and he taught all you guys, and you guys trained together for how many years? And whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter. I have no control over it. And none of it's factual. It's all hearsay. Even TJ and everything before December, before the testing has been done to say what he tested dirty for, it's all hearsay. It's just none of it matters. None of it matters. All that matters is what I can control. And if I sat and started worrying about people being dirty before I get into these fights with them, what am I doing?
So obviously TJ's, ascension and his first performance against Renan Barão was incredible. What an upset that was. And then he was just on this, the rematch was even more impressive. And he was kind of known for one of those guys who, had great cardio and would keep on pushing, and he was hard to put away in the later rounds. And now you find out about EPO, and that's that's the PD that helps you have great cardio and to keep on pushing and to outlast your opponent. Do you feel like this is something that forever tarnishes? Do you look at his legacy differently now?
It's not about how I look at it. Everything comes to me, in my opinion, because I'm on this interview. Yeah, that's what I care about. Yeah, I get that. But realistically, Ariel, I have no attachment to Tj Dillashaw or his decisions. I just don't. He chose this. I actually feel bad for him. I think that, but regardless of what I think, the world believes that there's an asterisk next to it. Same with John Jones. There's an asterisk next to the story. So at this point, I think he's going to come back. 2 years really is nothing. I've been out longer than that, injured.
That's true.
And he's just going to get healthy. That's all. All that's going to happen is Tj Dillashaw is going to take 2 years, raise his kid, probably be a good father to his son, or his kid, which is probably better to his family. He's going to heal up. Who knows what he's going to do in this off time? Who knows how much healthier, how much better he gets? Who knows if he fills in gaps? I honestly think that when Tj Dillashaw comes back, he's going to be better than he was when he left, because he's going to be rested and he's going to have time for his family. And I can tell you that 2 years suspension really isn't nothing. I mean, I've lost more years than that due to injury. So this really doesn't. It's being played out as a much bigger picture than it is. If we're gonna make him testing dirty EPO this big of a deal, then what's 2 years?
Oh, you think it should be more? Is that not enough of
No.
a deterrent? 2 years?
No, it's not that. It's just that 2 years isn't anything. I don't know why we're making this such a big deal.
I think you could sympathize with that because you've had unfortunate luck being injured for that long. But I mean that a top level fighter could fight 4 times, 5 times in 2 years. No, I mean that's a lot of paydays.
It is. I mean, there's money in the bank, but the dude's been a multiple-time champion. And how much money did he make since that dirty testing that he gets to sit on? So he's doing just fine. I mean, he made plenty of money. He might not. The way I see it, Ariel, is when you get a situation like this, it teaches a fighter what it feels like to be retired. If anything, it's a gift if you choose it right. There's been no unfortunate luck that you're going to hear me say I had through all these injuries, Ariel. I'm more happy. I'm more sharp. I'm better than I've ever been in my entire life as a human being. So to say that injuries were unfortunate luck would be completely wrong. Completely.
Okay. That's interesting perspective. He's actually come out like I obviously, PEDs are PEDs. Everyone has their take on them. But the fact that he has come out, no excuses, has owned up to it, went on his Instagram and did this video, again, not offering any excuses. I actually think his team has done him no favors by, his coach, his strength and conditioning coach. I thought his diatribe did him no favors. But I think what TJ has said and done has been commendable if we're going to compare him to other people who have been caught. What did you make of that? Were you surprised that he was that upfront about it? Because we've obviously seen people say, oh, tainted supplement and this and that, all kinds of excuses. He's offered none of that.
Well, I mean, when you did the investigation, the tainted supplements actually came through, right, for those people. And it actually was true. There were tainted supplements. Maybe there's a possibility that he knew there were no tainted supplements. So he didn't fight it because there was nothing to fight. He knew what he did, and he just fessed up to it. But if you think about it, like, how much money did he make
in those fights?
Was it worth it?
Right.
And for 2 years, I mean, it's just something to think about. 2 years, nothing. I've been out longer than that.
I have to admit, you're kind of blowing my mind right now, Dominic. I thought you were going to come in and be quite aggressive towards him and cheating and things like that, but you're taking a different approach. Not one that I'll say I disagree with, but I just didn't expect it.
Well, I got to tell you, Ariel, like, I'm in a different place in my life where I realize the things I can control and I can't control. And there's one more thing. I built my style to beat people who were cheating. I started in this sport at 155 pounds. So I was tiny. I had to be fighting people that were stronger, longer. And if they got a hold of me or if they literally laid a finger on me, I'd probably be pretty badly hurt because they had 30 pounds on me on fight night sometimes. So my whole style was built around guys that when I came in the sport, this was 10, 15 years ago. I mean, you see some of these guys in the sport then, there's a reason USADA got brought in. So I had to adjust my style to that. So if these guys are still doing that, I've been doing it since I started. I've had the mindset of facing cheaters or whatnot since I started this sport, and my style was built around beating people who decided to use that because there were no steps in the sport early on to take care of it like there is now. So now my style was different because it was built to not take damage and not get touched and to constant fluid movement, constant head movement, constant footwork. Now you're seeing all that, and it just looks like the style nowadays. But realistically, that's because the sport has adjusted to the fact that everybody's strong, everybody's a super athlete, and so the damage has to be minimal. So you're seeing better footwork, you're seeing better head movement, you're seeing better defense, you're seeing better offense. And that all comes with the progression of the sport, but it also comes with the sport just adapting, evolving. And I had a style that was built that has stayed relevant through the evolution of the sport. And because of that, I haven't taken too much damage regardless of whether people have cheated, whether I know or not, or whether they have, beat me. Even getting beat, I haven't taken as much damage as a lot of people. So it's a matter of I've already thought about it. It was already part of my regimen, Ariel, to deal with these types of scenarios. So when you bring it up, it has no effect on me. Like, I've already been thinking this way, that people were doing that. So I've already dealt with it.
As a result of his suspension, Marlon Moraes is going to fight Henry Cejudo for the vacant title. Who do you like in that fight? How do you see it playing out?
I like that fight for the division because Moraes, to me, I think Moraes would be a great champion for the division right now, to be honest. I'm hurt, and I'm about authentic people as champions. I'm not about necessarily always the greatest fighter on earth. The champion is the greatest fighter on earth generally, but authentic people are few and far between. And an authentic champion is almost impossible to find. And I see something like Moraes that could possibly be one of those types of people. And those are the ones that spark intrigue in the masses and make people want to be part of the sport and make people want to join it. Not the ones who, you can't even know who they are or what they're saying or if they mean what they say. And that's just as the personality base. And who would be a good champion to hold a division in a strong point, I think, Moraes. Now, as for the fight itself, I think that it could go either way. That's a tough fight for both these guys. I mean, you got the wrestling of Cejudo, but I really do believe that it's a tougher fight for Henry than it is for Moraes.
Tougher fight for Henry than it is Moraes, only because he's moving up or because of the style?
Both.
Okay.
I think that Henry can do, if he comes out and fights Moraes the way he did TJ, that was a style, that was a game plan. Sprint out the gate, keep TJ on his heels. I think tactics like that will always work really well for Henry. And it's just a matter of, if the fights go longer, does he have the experience to stay comfortable for the 5 rounds against a big kickboxer who can move.
Ultimately, are you picking Marlon?
Well, I might be calling that, Ariel, so I don't know.
Okay, my
we
bad.
Can't do that, can we?
No.
You never know. I don't know where they're going to put me. I literally
You don't know this far in advance? I mean, we're less than 2 months away. When do they tell you?
They might have told me already, Ariel, but I'm in the moment, man.
Okay.
I look at my calendar like I was on. If I would have, I'm not thinking what's after this. I'm right here.
Sure, fair enough.
So I do have something to do, but I'll check my calendar. If you want me to check, I can.
No, it's okay.
That's my brain.
It's okay. I understand, and I respect the fact that as broadcasters, you don't want to make those predictions. It's only right. I'm just curious. By the way, before I let you go, a couple of weeks ago, your old pal Urijah Faber said that he is itching to come back, and it looks like he is going to come back. Are you surprised to hear this from him?
No, I think he wanted to have a kid, probably is why he stopped, it looked like. I mean, he had a kid, so that makes sense. That would be the only guess I could think of why you would stop being him, because he was still healthy. So good for him. Congratulations on that. And for coming back to fighting, if there was a time, I mean, I hate to say it, but if there was a time we needed another 135er that had a name behind him, it'd be now, right?
Right.
TJ out, Cody out, Moraes there. I wish I was in there, and I'm sorry to be letting the division down. But, he was one of the catalysts that helped build it. He never won a world title in the UFC. So if there was ever a shot for him, maybe this is it.
Are you interested in that fight again, or are you done with Urijah?
I already fought him, man. I mean, if he can get the title and I fight him for the title, so be it. But let's be honest. Like, I just got to get myself healthy.
Yeah.
And show up to a fight right now. And I understand that. I'm not silly. I understand what's really going on. I see, that's what matters, is just getting into this next fight. And I just want to compete, Ariel. Like you said, there's a lot of paychecks to be made out there, and I deserve one of them. And I want to go earn it. And I love doing this. I love still giving back to the sport, but I can also give back to the sport through fighting. And I can bring new things to the sport, I still think, even now. New ideas, new movements, new fundamentals, new things. And that's what I want to also be part of.
You're not getting paychecks from fighting, but you're doing a great job on TV as always. And I want to say congratulations to not only you, but the birthday boy, Gilbert Melendez. Your new show, Unlocking Victory, is really great, especially for those that love the technical side of the sport. You guys do a great job of previewing these fights in a different manner, really literally showing us in the cage what to expect, what makes these fighters great, how the fighters match up. It's a great idea. It's a fun new addition to the roster of shows that we get now from the new ESPN UFC partnership. So kudos. Keep it up, my man.
Thanks, Ariel. Appreciate it, man.
And congrats to your boy, Brendan, for getting re-signed to the UFC. Yeah,
Brendan Loughnane in the 145-pound division gets another UK bloke to bring on. I call him the dirtiest pikey I know. He is hilarious, man. But you guys are going to love getting to know him, and he's a good training partner of mine, good friend, good human. Good things coming for him.
Awesome. Hope good things coming for you too, Dom. Thank you very much for the time as always. Good luck with the rehab. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ariel.
All right, there he is. Dominick Cruz, one of the greatest of all time. Great insight. Somewhat surprising insight. I didn't expect that out of him, but always a pleasure to have him on the show. Now, one of the fun stories to follow over the past week has been Valentina Shevchenko's homecoming. Holy smokes. If you've followed her on social media, I tweeted out a couple of videos. She went home to Kyrgyzstan few days ago, and she has been treated and received like a megastar. I'm not even saying that, I mean, really, this is not hyperbole, like a megastar, like thousands of people showing up to greet her wherever she goes, meeting with the president, getting gifts. This has been truly an amazing thing to witness. She is the new-ish UFC Women's Flyweight Champion. Of course, she won that title back in December. She defends the title for the first time in June, and she is now in St. Petersburg. Of course, her sister, Antonina, is fighting this weekend in St. Petersburg against Roxanne Modafferi. But I just had to talk to Valentina about this amazing homecoming. Valentina, how are you?
Hello, Ariel. I'm very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know things are very busy over there, so I really appreciate it. You look very royal in this setting. Where are you right now?
Right now in the hotel, and we just came back from the beautiful walk by the shore of Neva River, and we took a little ride by boat, and it was some kind of excursion about explaining the history of St. Petersburg, and it's really amazing. And we just get back home, hotel, and feeling good as always.
Yes. Well, like I said, it has really been amazing to watch the reception that you got upon coming home. When was the last time you were in Kyrgyzstan?
It was a long time ago. It was 2011. Last time I was at my home country, Kyrgyzstan. It's already 8 years ago.
Why were you away for so long? Why didn't you come back sooner?
It's a very good question, and every time I'm asking myself why, but the very easy answer, because we were so busy in fighting and making our professional career, and every time we was preparing for some competition, any competition. I'm preparing, Antonina, then her turn, my sister, she's preparing, and every time it was something to have. And in mind, every time I had the idea, if I go to my home country, I will spend there at least 2-3 months. And I every time was looking for this opportunity. But this time when we were in Thailand, ready for the fight of Antonina in St. Petersburg, and I mentioned, after my fight when I won the belt, president of Kyrgyzstan, he called me and he said congratulations for the fight, and he invited me to come to Kyrgyzstan. So I had to use this opportunity, and I knew it's gonna be just 1 week. I had to use it because I had to show the belt, UFC belt, to my people, because I know so good that in Kyrgyzstan, MMA and any kind of martial arts, Muay Thai, MMA, is sport number 1 in my country. And a lot of people, they are everyone, they respect a lot and they love UFC. And I knew that I have to go there and show the belt. And it was great. I have so much emotions inside me, and I'm so happy that I were at Kyrgyzstan, my home country, at least 1 week, but it was worth it.
Now, were you expecting that many people to show up everywhere you went? Were you expecting that kind of reception?
When I went and when I was preparing to the trip, I didn't think about how it's gonna look like, what I expected. I was just excited to breathe the air of my home, to go to my favorite places, but I didn't have a lot of time to do what I wanted to do, because all these like meetings every time we had to do. And but the most important that I felt this love of the people, and they really love this. They really love mixed martial arts. They really love Muay Thai, and in this time they showed all this love, and I'm so blessed to feel this. And I know that I have the huge support from people from my home country, from all of them.
I noticed, I think when you were in the airport, they gave you like a cookie, and you ate the cookie. Is that a traditional cookie from your home country? What is that?
Yes, it's tradition. It's like tradition, not just Kyrgyzstan, but all countries of like Soviet Union. It's like a tradition when they welcome you, and they give you a bread. But this special, it's named barsok. It's like fried bread, you can say like this,
Okay.
but it's exactly like Kyrgyzstan style. In all kind of tables you can see this kind of food, and it's very, very traditional.
What was it like meeting the president? And was that your first time meeting him?
Oh, this president, it was very first time when I met him, like personally. It was amazing, like when I think for every athlete, for every fighter, when the top person of the country saying like that he liked your fight, he was watching it live, he was rooting for me, and it's amazing to hear this. It's like the best motivation that everyone can have. And I know exactly like after all of this, more like the president, he gave me award from Kyrgyzstan, the award of honor, the Order of Honor. It's very respectable, this award. So it's meaning a lot for me, because looking back on all this kind, like how people receive me, how they treat me, I feel that I have to train double time more. I have to be more focused. Like I every time focused, but now much more, because I know I just for them I have to show like good fights, and every time being, and everything what I'm doing it for myself.
Is there a moment, someone that you met, a young child, a conversation that you had from this trip that will stay with you forever? Is there one moment or two that really sticks out above all the madness that happened that you experienced?
I think it's not only one moment. It's like every single moment. It's every single minute, every single people, every single person, they gonna stay with me forever. And it's like I cannot just say just one, because it's combination of all together.
Do you still have family that lives there?
I do have my mom. She's living there. She's president of Kyrgyzstan Muay Thai Federation. My grandfather from mother's side and my grandmother from father's side, they're still living there. So of course, like my goal and my main idea was when I go visit my country, I gonna visit all of them, and I will spend with them like as much time as I can. I'm very happy that I could do it, because I really like love my family. And the most amazing thing that my mom, she to St. Petersburg, so she's here right now. Also, my aunt, mother, sister, she came from Latvia, and all there like came to support Antonina for the Saturday, this Saturday. So this is like I feel so like good. So at this moment, so happy this moment that I like almost feeling me flying.
It's amazing, and I understand that she's getting a lot of support there as well ahead of her fight against Roxanne Modafferi, which happens this Saturday. You can watch it on ESPN Plus. So you get that moment, you get that reception. It's incredible to see. And now I'm starting to hear, I don't know if you've heard this as well, but the UFC has seen this, and the wheels are turning a little bit to actually have you fight in Kyrgyzstan or maybe close by. Have you heard this as well? Is there any truth to this?
I didn't yet because I was like some kind of out of social media, but I would feel the happiest person if in the future we will have like UFC events in Kyrgyzstan. I know all my countries, they're gonna come and with the fights, and because every time I'm repeating this, because in my home country, in Kyrgyzstan, sport number one is not soccer, it's not any other one. Sport number one is mixed martial arts. It's martial arts, it's Muay Thai, all kinds of martial arts. And Kyrgyzstan people, they are living of it. They are like every single person was doing any kind of sport, and a lot of professionals, a lot of good fighters, and they are just in the moment to show them like on international arenas, because they are now like participating in different international events. But I hope in the near future they can show all their talents, all their skills in international promotions.
So on June 8th, you return to action. You defend your title for the first time, this time against Jessica Ai. Jessica is a very confident person. She has taken subtle jabs at you and your abilities, your fighting abilities. How do you feel about some of the things that she has said about you leading up to this fight?
She can say whatever she wants, and it's nothing can help her inside the octagon. And if she really wants to know about my abilities fight, she will have this opportunity. She will see the abilities inside of the octagon. And when the doors are closed, you don't have your mouth anymore, and nothing gonna help her. I know about my power. I know about what she has. I know about what I have, and I know that I have to just keep my focus on my trainings and do exactly the same what I was doing all these times. And it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good fight, and just nothing less, nothing more.
I had heard that you actually wanted to return sooner. Is it true that you wanted to return in Prague, but she wasn't ready?
Yes, it was supposed to reach out to Roger, to my manager, and they asked about to have me fight in Prague in February 20, something like this. And I said yes. I said yes, I'm ready to go, and it was about like less than a month to prepare for this fight, but I was still good and good for condition, so I said yes. But then they came back and said that Jessica, she has some kind like post fight something like about fixing or whatever, and she wasn't ready exactly for this date, but she was ready for maybe like March or something like this. But after this, they came back with June 8th. Okay. So it's okay. It's okay for me. I had a little bit like rest time. I enjoyed a little bit more being in Thailand without thinking like hard training as my sister did. She was just focusing on the training preparation. I could like go and explore some beach sites, some like amazing food in Thailand. So I'm glad that the things turned out like this, and I had a little bit free time, because last 2 years, if say more exactly, it was super busy for me. It was like non-stop training, non-stop fighting. Even it was not so like busy of fights, real fights. but it was too busy in preparation because one opponent dropped for this day. But I still have to train and continue my preparation. And this is what I think it was very necessary for me to breathe a little bit of different air, not the air of the gym and thinking too hard of preparation, too much thinking about fight. Everything was working for me good. Yeah.
Valentina, thank you as always for the time. Very happy to see the love and the reception that you got back home. Really cool to see, and I thank your manager, Roger, for showing all of that to me. And congratulations on your new contract with the UFC. Good luck to you on June 8th. But for now, most importantly, good luck to your sister, Antonina, on Saturday against Roxanne Modafferi. I'm looking forward to that fight very much. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ariel, and have a good day. And it's great, very great that Antonina fighting in UFC St. Petersburg, and it's gonna be a female fight in history of UFC Russia. So it's gonna be an amazing event, and I expect a lot of people come in and support Antonina same way as Peruvian people every time doing the same as Russian people, because these three countries, Peru, Kyrgyzstan, Peru, and Russia, it's meaning a lot for me because I spent a lot of time living in these countries, and each one is in my heart they have first place.
I look forward to it. It sounds like a special scene. I'm excited for the fight. Thank you, Valentina. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
There she is, Valentina Shevchenko, the Bullet. Her sister, Antonina, again, fights this Saturday on ESPN+. And that is an important fight. And she just noted the first female fight as far as UFC Russia events. Of course, this is just the second. They were in Moscow back in September. Now they return to beautiful St. Petersburg. As you see right over there, prelims at 10 a.m., main card at 1 p.m., prelims on ESPN2 at 10 Eastern. Main card 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Main event Alistair Overeem against Alexei Oleinik. We had both of them on the show last week. Other fighters of note: Islam Makhachev, as you see right over there. I told you about Roxanne Modafferi. You see the lineup, and while you look at the lineup, let me tell you about our good friends over at Vivid Seats. I like the good people over at Vivid Seats, and this is a great sponsor for us. I appreciate them supporting us. We all love a night out. I sure do. Go out all the time. Whether it's seeing our favorite band in person, or being there in the crowd to cheer on our favorite team, or even going to SmackDown Live and sitting right in the back of the announce team with your kids. I mean, did you see that? I was on TV representing. Did you see that? Right there. I was going to go after Corey Graves, but I spared him. Anyway, with Vivid Seats, you can attend the concert, show, or sporting event of your choice at a great price. Vivid Seats is the top source for tickets for all the live events you want to go to. You can sort by price or look for seats in the section and row of your choice. To make things even better, Vivid Seats is giving listeners of this great show an exclusive promo code for new customers to receive 10% off your first ticket order to save even more money. How great is that? Go to the App Store or Google Play right now and download the Vivid Seats app. First-time customers can use the promo code KNOCKOUT for 10% off your first Vivid Seats order. Every purchase is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, from the biggest concerts and games to the hottest theater and more. Vivid Seats has it all. Download the app right now and enter the promo code KNOCKOUT. That's KNOCKOUT for 10% off your first order on Vivid Seats. That's promo code KNOCKOUT for 10% off your first order on Vivid Seats. Make a memory that lasts a lifetime, and let Vivid Seats help you get to your favorite live event. Support them because they support us. That's the lineup right over there for this Saturday. UFC 236 was last Saturday, and the fight that started the show was a great one between Brandon Davis and Randy Costa. What a great performance from Brandon Davis in his bantamweight debut. Back and forth they went. In the end, Davis wins via submission. And I'm excited to talk to him for the first time on the program. So without further ado, let us say hello to the Killer Bee himself, Brandon Davis. Brandon, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Ariel?
I'm doing great. I have a lot to talk to you about, my friend, but first off, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great win, great way to start the show. And you were born actually in Atlanta. You don't live in Atlanta, but you were born in Atlanta. How long did you live there for?
I was born in Atlanta. I grew up in Georgia all my life.
Oh, and just like that. Oh, he's back.
Sorry, tried to call in.
Okay, no problem.
I went half south of there all my life. After high school, I went to Mississippi and for college and football and everything. And that's when I moved to Mississippi. And I've been there ever since. So about almost 9 years now, but grew up in Georgia pretty much all my life.
Did you have a lot of friends and family at the fight?
Man, I'm pretty sure we were the first fight. So there wasn't that many people there, but I'm pretty sure almost everybody there was either my friends and family and fans or his friends and family and fans. So I think I had like 200 people there.
Wow, that is amazing. And one of the big talking points going into the fight was that it was your 135-pound debut, but it was revealed beforehand that you were running 20 miles a day in order to make 135. That can't be true, right?
That was true. It wasn't 20 miles straight at one time. I would get up in the morning, 6 a.m., and I'd run about 6.5 miles. Get done, we'd go straight to wrestling training, 7 to 8. Then 8 to 9 would be striking. Then we'd go do weights to D1, the place I'm at now. We just got done lifting weights. And then I'd get home and run another 7 miles, and then I'd have a 6.5 mile run that night after we got done training again.
Jeez. And so when you were fighting at 145, typically, how many miles were you running a day?
Man, a day, it wasn't daily. It was a lot of training, and I'd probably run like 10 miles a week.
What?
Five times a week, but or 3.5 miles 3 times a week on this bridge that we do. But when I went to the PI, it wasn't even just to run 20 miles a day. It was more so they told me that where I needed to get my heart rate at in each interval thing that we did on the sprint on the treadmill. So it wasn't like I was just jogging. They were interval sprints. So I would go 2 minutes at 7 miles an hour or 8 miles an hour, and then I would go a minute at 10 miles an hour, and then I'd go 2 minutes at 8 miles an hour, and that'd be my first one of the day for 6.5 miles. And the 7 miles would be, I would go 10 miles an hour for 1 minute, 8 miles an hour for 1 minute, 10 miles an hour for 1 minute, 8 miles an hour for 1 minute, 10 miles an hour for 1 minute, walk at 4 miles an hour for 1 minute. That's a 5-minute round. You get a 1 minute walk to get your heart rate back down, just like in the fight. And then you go again. So you start out the fight fast, somewhere in the middle it slows down, then the fast pace in the middle again slows down, and then you end the round fast. So 3 10-minute sprints per 5 minutes. So it makes it more realistic as a fight.
Why did you even decide to go down to 135?
It wasn't really my decision. My coaches have been, not coaches, one of my coaches, Mike Sanford, had been asking me to do it for a while. And then Alan sent it to Sean Shelby, and he okayed it, and they sent me out to the UFC PI to see if I could actually make the weight, and they got me on a diet and everything, and I said, fuck it, let's do it. Let's see what I can do.
How did you feel about the idea initially?
At first, I hated it. I was like, man, I'm good at 45. I'm strong. But then the more that I thought about it, when I got to the PI, I saw that it was going to challenge me and make me work harder, and why not do that? I mean, I need to work as hard as I can, so I see people saying, oh man, if he's having to run 20 miles a day, he shouldn't do 135. What's wrong with running 20 miles a day? It's going to put you in better shape. It's not like I'm cutting water weight. I literally made this weight cut easier than I made 45 any of my fights in the UFC. So that I was just in better shape to make 135.
Right. And how long did you have to do that for, the 20 miles a day?
They sent me to the PI January 4th. And I never got word of a fight. I was told that I'd fight in February or March, and I never got word. So I just kept training and doing it every day anyways, begging to get on the Nashville card, begging to get on the Philadelphia card. I was literally begging. Then I was like, oh, I see they got a fight in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. Get me on there. I will do anything. I usually hate being early on the card. I said I would not complain one time if they had me in the first fight on there, and I actually loved being the first fight.
Because you know exactly when you're going to fight, right?
Exactly. And we got out of there. When we got out of the arena and got back to the hotel, it was still light outside. I've never had that before.
You didn't stay for the whole card?
Uh,
Why?
I mean, it was a good card. I watched it on TV, but I was there to do my job, and everybody else has their job. So I just went out and just hung out with friends. I don't make it back to Georgia that often, so
Right.
I felt like I should go hang out with them while they came down to see me.
I had heard, and I wanted to ask you about this. We're looking at your last 5 fights on our board over here. Is it accurate? Like, if you would have not won this fight against Randy, would you have called it a career?
No. What I said was, I'm sure I would have got cut. I would have took some time off. I coach a lot of people now. I would have went to coaching for a little bit. I mean, it's just a long track back. So I would have took my time. I wouldn't have tried to rush like, hey, let me get 7 fights right now so I can try to make it back in as fast as I can. So, I mean, of course I didn't think I was going to lose. The fight was way tougher than I thought it was going to be. That dude was super legit. But I wasn't going to quit after. I was just going to take some time off.
You believe, though, that if you would have lost this fight, it would have been 3 in a row, 4 or 5. You would have been cut?
100%.
Wow. That's a lot of pressure. Is it not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But when I'm in there fighting, I swear to God, I don't think about it. It's just a fight. So when I'm in there fighting, I was like, man, I'm going into this fight. I always laugh and have a good time in the fight, so I'm not going to do that. And then I get in the fight and they're still doing it. I mean, it's just too fun to me. It's not something where some people go in there really nervous and everything. I go in there and I have a fun time, and it gets me in bad positions sometimes and helps me out sometimes.
And I also heard that one of the keys to you changing your body and cutting down to 135, no more drinking, no more alcohol. How big of a part of your life was alcohol?
I would drink like a 6-pack a day at least when I got home from training at night. But like I said, I'd rather be doing this than anything else. This is what I want to do, so I'll do anything that I have to do illegally, not cheating.
Right.
To stay in here. And once I stopped drinking, I mean, it was easy. And the pounds just started shedding off. I was walking around at 167. Now I walk around to like 152. I got down to even 148 a couple weeks before the fight, just walking around without cutting any water weight or anything. And now I'm back up to like 162. So I'm going to work my way back down and start getting ready for another one.
So you're fighting in the UFC as a 145er. You're getting ready to fight the likes of Zabit Magomedsharipov recently, Enrique Barzola, etc., Kyle Bochniak. And you're drinking a 6-pack a day during training? Minimum. While you're training for these fights. Not like at a training camp, in the midst of training camp.
Yeah.
Damn. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
I just like beer. It tastes good. But I had to cut that out. And now I replaced that with water and protein shakes.
Wow.
I don't take any supplements, so I don't know. It's weird for me to drink. I hate drinking water. I hate drinking protein shakes and everything. I don't know. I just like to be natural. But the beer, to me, seemed natural. It was really good.
Was that hard? Hard to cut it all out?
No, I made the decision. I want to stay in the UFC, so it was super easy.
Okay. And that was your decision, or did someone like have a heart-to-heart with you?
That was me 100%. I had to have a heart-to-heart with myself. Do I want to drink beers like anybody else can do, or do I want to stay in the UFC, which very few people can do? So I'm trying to be in here for as long as I can be in here.
And you said 6-pack minimum. Like what? Like how high did it get? Like, do you ever go 12? You ever go 24? What are we talking?
Oh shit! That's the case. I can drink some beer now.
Man.
Sometimes it'd be a case, and it's always Budweiser. People are like, "That's gonna make you fat." I'm like, dude, I'm working out like 8 hours a day. What are you talking about?
When's the last time you had a beer?
Yesterday.
Oh.
I had to celebrate.
Right.
I had to celebrate. If you saw my Instagram, we had the whole bathtub full of beer after the fight. We always fill up the bathtub with beers. I think we had 6 cases in there, and we had 4 bottles of Jim Beam. But I won't drink again until after the next fight.
Okay. By the way, you think that if you were this clean going into the Zabit fight, you beat him?
I think that if I would have been able to train before the Zabit fight, then I would have beat him. Yeah. I mean, don't let me say that. I'm not gonna say I would have beat him. I think it would have went all 3 rounds, and who knows what would happen in the 3rd round. I feel like I was beating him on the feet, before that fight, I had 3 bulging discs in my lower back, so I wasn't able to train at all. I could barely bend down, so I was on a table every single day. Like whenever they told me that I had to fight, I was on this table thing that you lay down and you hold onto, and they put some straps around your feet, and it stretches you out, decompresses your back. So I wasn't able to train at all, so I wasn't in shape. But I mean, like I told DC and everybody before the fight, I can hang with anybody standing up. I feel like his wrestling was really good. I feel like his jiu-jitsu still has some holes. He caught me with something. It was still a wrestling move. I just got tired, got up tiredly. But I feel like that fight would go a lot different. He would still probably take me down. I'd still have problems there. But then I'd make it through the 3rd round, not getting up so tiredly. I didn't get tired at all this last fight. And then 3rd round, who knows, because he was tired too.
Right. Yeah, and that was a great fight, especially considering the fact that you took it on such short notice. And the fight on Saturday was great as well. On some other cards, it might have even been in consideration for fight of the night. But then, of course, what happened in the co-main and main was just completely incredible stuff. Was he better than you thought he would be? And I'm just curious about his style, because even they were talking about it on the broadcast. Rogan was like, the way he was moving his legs, the way he was moving his shoulder. It was a very awkward style. I'd never seen that before. Did you notice how he was moving? It was strange.
Yeah, I knew he was going to move weird. He moves like that in all his fights, but I didn't expect it to be so hard to anticipate where the punches were coming from, because the punches, he moved really weird, and the punches and kicks came from different angles than what you would normally see. So he caught me with some, and caught me. Zabit couldn't catch me. Enrique Barzola couldn't catch me. Nobody's caught me with a punch like that ever. And, I mean, he caught me, so props to him. He hit hard. He was tougher than I thought, because his opponent's records before weren't great. So I was like, man, he hasn't faced anybody. But he came out and he was game, and I just had to weather the storm and try to show that I knew what I can do, and I belong to be in the UFC still.
No stitches on the nose?
Nah, it's cut up a little bit right now, though. We just wrestled earlier, so we did like 55 minutes of live wrestling, and it was all bloody.
No days off after a fight like that?
Yesterday, that was my drinking day. We had to drive back, and then had my buddy drive back, and I was drinking on the way back, riding. But that was 1 day off, and then back at it. Got to get ready. I'm not where I want to be, so there's no days off.
And the finish was impressive as well, and somewhat unique in its own right, because you did submit it with the rear naked, but you never had your hooks in. You were almost like off to the side there. It was kind of like a camel clutchish, if you want to compare it to like a pro wrestling move. Is that something you do often?
It happens a lot in the gym, just because I can't get my hooks in. People, if I get somebody's back, most of the time they're not getting away. And he didn't let me get my hooks in, so it's kind of as if whenever you do a mat return, you have your arms around their body. Let me see, how do you explain it? All right, if you've ever changed an oil can, the oil wrench you put on there, and then you turn and it stays still on one side and then it turns around. It's the same thing I did with my legs. So it tightened up around he couldn't move his hips. That also allowed me to hang off to the side and cut into that carotid artery a little more.
Wow. It was impressive. Great finish, especially after he rocked you a little bit there. And then I love the moment afterwards because at the weigh-ins, Randy was honoring his late friend, Devin Carrier, who passed away in a car accident, said that he wanted to bring him there for his UFC debut. And unfortunately for him, he didn't win, but you decided to honor him with the photo that he was holding. When did you think of doing that? Did you ask him that beforehand? How did that come about? Because I thought that was a really classy move on your part.
No, I thought about it before the fight. I don't think that just because you lose the fight that your fallen buddy should not be able to get the attention. So after the fight, I went up to him and asked him if he cared if I used the picture, and helped him out and got his buddy on the spotlight and everything. So he was really cool about it. He was cool all week. I would have probably still done it even if he wasn't cool, but that was probably one of the coolest dudes I've fought. I wish it was like that every time. I mean, but not everybody's like that. But yeah, it was. His family's reached out to me ever since then, and everybody's been super nice about it, and I appreciate them. And anything I can always do like that, I will have the opportunity.
Randy's family or Devin's family?
Devin's family.
Wow, what did they say?
His mom thanked me and appreciated me. His brother just messaged me earlier and appreciated it as well and said that he wanted to make it to the UFC and he was happy that I could do that since Randy didn't win, and they're going to send me some shirts, and I told him I'd post about it all the time. I like doing stuff like that. Like I have a brand now. It's called Savage Association. I have a shirt on now. And I haven't been able to do much just yet because I was getting ready for this fight. But I talked to Ray Borg, and we're going to have T-shirts for his son because his son has the problem where the fluid around his brain doesn't drain so well. And 100% of the profits will go to his family to help without medical bills and everything like that. So if you have a chance, go check out savageassociation.com. We'll have those up there real soon.
That is great. Did you know about Devin? Did you know about Randy's story beforehand, or you just found out that week?
No, I'd watched all his fights and I'd seen it, so I kind of looked it up and saw what it was. And I think that's pretty cool of him to do. So, I mean, like I said, any way I could help. Just because you don't win doesn't mean that something like that shouldn't be done. And
then I love the fact that you had a name ready. You said you wanted to fight Sugar Sean O'Malley. Why him in particular?
Man, I like to fight bangers. I'm not trying to go to the ground and be boring. I mean, I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, so I don't mind the ground at all. My wrestling is getting better. I wrestle minimum 2 hours a day, every day, or 6 days a week. But I like to stand and bang and put on a show. If nobody knows that by now, if they don't know me, that should be the one thing that they know about. So, I mean, he's game with that. So let's get it.
Do you think there's any interest there? Have you heard anything back since you called him out?
I haven't heard anything. He probably doesn't think I deserve it. And I mean, you might be right. 2-3 in the UFC right now, but let me get another one. And I promise you, no matter what, if he wants it or not, eventually I'm going to get it.
Okay. And it's only about his style. There's nothing else there that made you ask for him.
No, it's the style. I mean, just like I wanted as a beat, I love fighting strikers.
Right.
And I love fighting somebody that's standing bang with me.
By the way, I don't know if this makes you think any differently of me, but I have never seen a second of Game of Thrones. How do you feel about that?
I saw that on your Twitter or Instagram earlier. Man, you're missing out. I swear to God, I told my fiance, I told my buddy Hollis, I was like, dude, they would not watch it for anything. I finally convinced them to, and they both told me they hated me because they could not leave the house. They were so into the show. And now he was sending me messages yesterday like winter's coming and Game of Thrones and all this stuff. I'm like, man, you're a bigger fan than me now. I'm telling you, if you watch it, you will not be disappointed. And it's not even that long. There's only 10 episodes per season. And I think the last season had 8 episodes. This season has 6. Man, it's quick catch up.
Okay. All right. You're starting to sell me a little bit. How was the debut episode yesterday of the new season?
Surprisingly, not as much action as I thought, but there's only 5 more, so there's got to be some action somewhere. So I'm excited. I told my buddy Tyler on the way up here, I was like, dude, I feel like a little kid. I'm just waiting on this every weekend now.
Wait, the season just started and there's only 5 more episodes? What's up with that?
They only have 6 episodes this season. I don't know, but they're an hour long. But, man, it's like watching the best movie you've ever seen every weekend.
Wow. Okay. You are selling it strong. All right. So you got that out of the way. And then and I'm assuming next fight you're sticking around at 135, regardless of who you get?
Yeah, I don't want to go back up. I love having to put this work in and challenge myself. And I feel like it makes – whenever you see like baseball players and NFL athletes and they have set schedules and practices and they do so much per day, 8 hours a day and everything, I want to make myself do that as well. I want to have an 8 to 10 hour a day where I'm putting in work. So I feel like I'm actually a professional athlete doing what I need to do. So that takes me running 3 hours a day, wrestling 2 hours a day, and then my other striking and strength and conditioning and everything else, the other 3 hours, and that's fine with me.
Great job on Saturday. A lot of fun to see. Great way to start the show. And again, I thought that you guys were in the running for a little bit for Fight of the Night, but well done on making the weight and being successful in your debut, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Thanks for doing this, Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yep, there he is, Brandon Davis. A lot of fun on Saturday to see him compete in his bantamweight debut. 20 miles a day. That is absolutely insane. 20 miles a day to make 135. And even if it's not continuous, even if it's not in one shot, 20 miles a day is just incredibly impressive. And if you missed the moment that we were talking about in the interview with Randy Costa, who was making his UFC debut, a member of Team Lozon at the early weigh-ins, stepped on the scale with a photo in his hand, and we weren't quite sure what it was. I wasn't aware of the story beforehand. It was a photo of his friend and teammate, Devin Carrier, who passed away a couple years ago in a car accident, and he wanted to bring him there for his UFC debut. He wanted to have him there by his side, so he had the photo at the official weigh-ins in the morning. He had the photo with him as he stepped on the scale at the ceremonial weigh-ins, and then in the fight itself, it didn't turn out his way, so he wasn't able to honor him in the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, but Brandon actually took the photo, and in the post-fight interview shared it and gave Devin a shout-out, which, he has no relation to Devin. I thought that was a beautiful moment as well, a really nice moment to start out the show on Saturday in Atlanta. So congratulations to Brandon Davis. I am looking forward to his next fight. That is an interesting one. I did hear that Sean is coming back soon, Sean O'Malley, that his USADA issue is getting cleared up. And I heard that they're already in talks with someone. I don't know who that opponent is just yet, but perhaps Brandon Davis has convinced them to change their mind. And if not, it seems like he's well aware that a couple more fights and he could work his way back up. So that's Brandon Davis's story. I believe in a matter of moments, we are going to connect with Khalil Rountree, who won on the main card. He won in the fight right before the Adesanya Gastelum fight. That was against Eric Anders. What a great performance that was from Khalil Rountree, who was coming off a loss to Johnny Walker. Had the win over Gokhan Saki in July of last year, rebounded with the loss to Johnny Walker, and moved recently to Thailand. So I was curious to see how he looked. He looked like Street Fighter out there. His Muay Thai stance was on point. His leg kicks were on point. His striking was on point. Great tweet from Eric Anders afterwards saying essentially that he has not had his butt whipped like that for, 32 years? Last time he was whooped like that was, I think he said 1987. So that was very impressive stuff. After we connect with Khalil Rountree, we'll talk to Daniel Straus, who has an incredible backstory. Around a year and a half or so ago, he was involved in a motorcycle accident, which left him potentially paralyzed. They thought that his life was in great danger. Certainly his career, they believed, was over. And the Bellator featherweight champion did not take no for an answer, came all the way back and was able to walk again. They posted an amazing video of his recovery and was actually successful in his return to Bellator just a couple of weeks ago. So that's an incredible story. I'm looking forward to talking to Daniel about that. Later on, we'll talk to Mike Brown, the head coach for one Dustin Poirier over at the American Top Team in Coconut Creek, Florida. I'm looking forward to talking to Mike, the former WEC featherweight champion. And then following that, we'll talk to Jordan Burroughs, the 2012 Olympic gold medalist in freestyle wrestling, one of the most decorated American wrestlers currently competing. He is competing against one Ben Askren at the Beat the Streets event, Grapple at the Garden, on May 6th in New York City, and that is a dream match, if you will, for wrestling enthusiasts. A couple of national champions going toe-to-toe in a match at 79 kilograms, which is essentially 179 pounds, and I think that's one that the wrestling fans are very excited about. I'm looking forward to talking to Jordan Burroughs for the first time, and then we'll close the show with Robert Whittaker, who will join us at the bottom of the third hour, the current UFC middleweight champion of the world. He is going to fight Israel Adesanya. I'm looking forward to that fight. I thought it was very interesting that Israel said that he maybe isn't ready to fight in July and maybe needs a little more time. Izzy has said that he likes being active, but of course he was banged up, and I was talking to his team about this yesterday. Whittaker's team, like, hey, would August be a little soon for Izzy, in your opinion? And they certainly want to come back. Of course, Whittaker coming back from the emergency hernia surgery and the collapsed bowel, but it looks like he is back to training, feeling good again, and they want him to come back around that time. And they're talking about a stadium in Australia, perhaps Brisbane, maybe Melbourne, but that would be a gigantic fight. Remember, they went to Etihad Stadium for UFC 193, Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey, and that sold 55,000 tickets. I think they papered it a little bit, but I think that Whittaker Adesanya will need no papering, and it would be gigantic. Australia loves its mixed martial arts, and a fight between a New Zealander, a Kiwi, going up against an Aussie, and having that fight in Australia. It has to be in Australia. It would be criminal if that fight happens here in the United States. You have to make that fight in Australia. But does it work out timing-wise? They have the pay-per-view July 6th in Las Vegas. I was told that they want to have another pay-per-view to make up for the card that they canceled, the pay-per-view card that they canceled in January, end of January, early August, and then another one in mid-August, another pay-per-view card. Then September in Abu Dhabi, which would be the return of Khabib Nurmagomedov, perhaps against Dustin Poirier, if all works out. And so that's when they were targeting the return of Robert Whittaker. But what if Izzy says he's not ready? We shall see. For now, though, let us put a pin in that discussion and say hello to our next guest. I was just talking about him. Khalil Rountree joins us now via the magic of Skype. Khalil, how are you?
Doing good. How you doing, Ariel?
I'm doing great. Congratulations on the win, my man. Wow, what a performance out of you. I feel like that was Khalil Rountree 2.0. That was a brand new Khalil Rountree. That was incredible stuff. Are you happy with what you did out there?
Yeah, very happy, man. It was great. Like, that's exactly the type of performance that I wanted to put on. So I'm very happy.
I also felt like I was watching, if you were ever a Street Fighter character, I felt like I was watching your Street Fighter character in there, like your stance, the leg movement, all that stuff. That was a lot of fun. Is this all stuff that you learned in your recent trip to Thailand, or was it a part of the repertoire that you just didn't get a chance to show us in the past?
A lot of the stance and the timing and the speed, all of that stuff is all brand new. Everyone knows, like, I've always been more of like a stand-up striker, but I was able to go and actually build a, somewhat of a foundation, the beginning of a foundation of my skills. Yeah.
Okay. So we spoke before the fight, but we didn't talk a lot about this. So I'm curious, why did you initially go to Thailand?
The biggest thing was, like, after watching the Johnny Walker fight and, like, looking at it technically and seeing, like, oh man, when I was in the clinch, I got completely shut down. I didn't really know what to do. And so I knew that I had to at least up that if I wanted to evolve as a mixed martial artist. I got to know clinch, just like I got to know jiu-jitsu and everything else. So I figured, hey, why not go to Thailand and learn it the right way? And also just I knew a couple guys from Thailand or that went there before, and they just came back with such, like, just discipline. They would run before every session, before they hit pads and all that stuff, just on their own. So I figured, like, hey, maybe there's something out there for me. And so I went to go find out for myself.
Now, do you actually live in Thailand full time now?
I've been out there 4 months. I went out there right after the Johnny Walker fight and all the way up until this fight. And I'm going back within the next couple of weeks for 1 year. Yeah.
Whoa, you're going to live there for a year?
Yeah.
Wow. And why? Like, why not just for training camps? Why are you deciding to actually live there?
The training's awesome. It's just a part of life. Like, everyone there, even the Thai fighters, it's a part of their life. They train all day, and then, in the off time, they go and enjoy whatever whatever the city has or whatever the island has in Phuket. So I love the people. I love the culture, the convenience. Everything's like very simple. I can get fruit off the side of the road. I can just ride my motorbike. I can wear flip-flops every day. And all I think about there is training and just a lot of clearing my mind and great places to clear my mind and just new culture. I love Thai people, and they've been so welcoming for me. And so I think that, for my career, I think it's good for me to be there, especially at a time like this. It's just the people, everything about it is good for my heart right now.
Had you ever been there before you went this first time to train for this fight?
No, this was my first time. And actually, since I started training MMA, I've always wanted to go. Even before I even did MMA, I knew I wanted to train Muay Thai. That was the first, like, type of class I ever took when I was, like, overweight and stuff. And I knew, man, I really like Muay Thai, and one day I want to go to Thailand. And so, like, that time came, and I jumped on the opportunity.
And was there a specific team that you were training with there?
Yeah, I first started off with a Muay Thai gym called Pet Yin D, and they're out of Bangkok. And I chose that place because they just had this crazy bond, and they had a super nice facility, almost like the PI. It had, ice bath, hot tub, sauna. The guys trained with, like, heart rate monitors. It was very, like, state of the art. And so that was intriguing. But all the guys there are, like, active Lumpini and Rajadamnern champions, and, like, and fighters. So I'm like, oh, that means that they know what they're doing and they're really skilled and they have active competitors. It's not just like a tourist attraction. So first day I got there, they were really welcoming. They were like, okay, tomorrow 5 a.m. run. And we went on the 5 a.m. run around the Grand Palace in Bangkok. And I just started to just whatever they did, I did. And whatever they ate, I ate. And it just became this thing. So Pet Yindi, and they took me in as family. And they were all watching the fight. And Boat, who's the owner of the whole thing, like him and I became close. Everything just happened like so nicely, and it was great.
It's amazing, and I appreciate you sharing the journey with us via your social media. I did notice, by the way, you're no longer on Twitter. Is that accurate? I couldn't find you anymore.
Yeah, a few months ago, I don't know how long ago, but I think it's a few months ago, my Twitter got hacked by some online betting thing. So I think we just disabled it after that.
Okay.
And so yeah, and plus I don't know. I don't really tweet too much. I don't really have much to say. I really like more pictures and like showing things. I don't really have much to say or to tweet or get into. It seems like it's just like arguments and stuff all the time. So I'd rather just stay out of that and keep my cool.
You could show pictures on Twitter as well. It doesn't have to just be words.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Twitter. I think I don't know. Maybe it's just my own opinion on it. It's just I feel like it's just a bunch of shit talk. Sorry, excuse my language.
No,
yeah.
Fair enough.
And then also one thing that I forgot is that in Thailand too, Tiger, they took me in, man. They made me feel home. I needed to go and do my MMA training, and I got there and I told them, hey, I want to do my camp here if you guys can help me out. And those guys there, the Hickman brothers and all them, they just took me in and really helped me to build, not to build, but to add my new Muay Thai skills into MMA. So that was like the icing on the cake. So for sure, shout out to Tiger Muay Thai for that. That was awesome.
One thing I noticed on your Instagram, you seem to get really cozy with some elephants over there in Thailand. What is going on over here? Like, are you bathing with the elephants over there? What's happening? Look at these photos. This is incredible.
Yeah. So I've always loved elephants since I was a kid. It's been my favorite animal. And then so the first time I went to see elephants, it was more like a tourist attraction. They ride it and all that stuff, and it didn't settle well with me. And so I found a place called Elephant Jungle Sanctuary in Phuket, and they're actually an elephant rescue. So they rescue the elephants from places like that, like from having to work and having to carry people on their backs and do tricks and all these things. They save money, they rescue them, and they have this like a bunch of land where they just set them free. And so when I went there, it's just like a whole day of volunteering, feeding them, learning about like how to care for them, health, what they like, how much they sleep, everything. You just spend a whole day learning and bonding with elephants that are just really being elephants. No riding, anything like that. We can take baths with them. You can play in the mud. You can do all type of stuff, but it's literally just to be there and experience them just for how they are. And that was the most like beautiful thing to experience. So I'll definitely be going there like a lot more when I'm there.
And I'm just curious, we're about to show the photo right over here. The one where it's like you're rubbing this one. What is going on? What is this? What's happening here? Like this is you. What's that stuff? Is that mud?
Yes, it's mud.
Okay.
And and a lot of other things. So elephants, like multiple times a day at this place, they'll take them to take the mud baths because they like to cover themselves with the water in the mud to cool down because they don't have sweat glands. So they have to get in the water and the mud. It's like cold and they like it and they like to play in it. So they were like, yeah, if you guys want to get in, you can get in. And I just dove right in, man. I started picking up mud, like throwing it on them, throwing it on myself. They were spraying me back. It was a great experience. Just like,
wow, kind
of just like mud wrestling with elephants, man. And then right after that, we took them to the more of like a clear pond, and we wash them and scrub them all down, and then take them to this like big shower, like a car wash shower, and wash them down again, and go feed them and hang out. And yeah, it's a hell of a day, man.
You're like the kid from the Jungle Book.
Oh man, seriously, I felt like it that day. I definitely felt like Mowgli.
Yes, that kid.
Yeah.
And why the interest, the great interest in elephants? Like why them in particular?
You know what? I think it was when I was a kid. It was just the way they look, and they were so big, and then as I started to like watch documentaries and things, I started to realize like how crazy their memory is and how smart they are. And I've seen like videos of an elephant actually painting a picture. So I'm like, man, these things are way more intelligent, and there's something else about this animal other than just being big and, you know, and intense. So then I just started to figure out they're kind, they're gentle, they're wise. I saw a documentary where a guy who was an elephant caretaker, he passed away, and all the elephants that he took care of, they like migrated to his grave on like the day that he died. I have to look up the name and stuff so
Wow.
I can share it with the followers. But like, man, they're a different breed of animal, man. There's something special about them, and I've just always connected to them just because I felt like there's just something special. And in Thailand, elephants are very sacred, so it just everything kind of fits all into one.
And I hope you don't mind me asking this, and if you do, I totally understand. But as you can tell, I'm very perceptive when it comes to this social media stuff. I realized you weren't on Twitter anymore and all that. And I've talked to your manager about this, and something came to my attention yesterday. I mentioned to him because I know that you were. It's rare to have two fighters in the UFC dating each other, and I noticed you were dating Veronica Macedo. And then I realized, because you guys were the cutest couple in the world. I mean, I saw all this like very PDA, but it was beautiful PDA, and then I noticed. Where is I don't see her anymore. Please don't tell me what I think I think right now.
Come on, Ariel. Come on, man. Why are you digging?
I was just it was right there. You put it out there. You put the love out there, and I was just sad about it. I must admit I was really sad.
Yeah. You know what? Like I don't really have anything like bad or anything to say. It's just like
it's life.
The life and careers as fighters are important things, like we have a lot. We're fighters, man. Like we need to focus on fighting, right?
It's tough.
And I think that every fighter who wants to be at the highest level, they should focus on their thing. I don't even know why I'm even having this conversation.
Okay,
this is so
enough.
weird. Why are you digging?
I'm not digging, but fair enough. Okay, but it was out there. If it was out there, I just was curious. I was hoping you would say something different, but that's it. I'm sorry. I'm very nosy, as you know. I have a big nose and I get nosy, but I appreciate you saying whatever you say.
It's all good.
Because I like your social media. You post some good stuff. That's all. That's really what this is all about.
So nothing but love, though. Always nothing but love, man.
Okay.
Seriously.
You're talking about for me, right?
Just for everybody.
Okay.
For everybody, yeah.
So afterwards, Eric wrote a great tweet. We were talking about it earlier about how he hasn't had his butt whipped like that since like 1987 or something like that.
Yeah.
Did you talk to it? He seemed to be taking it well, but that really was a one-sided beatdown. And even I saw people who were sort of saying, why didn't his corner stop the fight? Did you have a word with Eric? You've been on the other side of a tough loss. Did you guys talk afterwards? Because it seemed like there was mutual respect there.
Yeah, I saw him at the bar downstairs at the hotel, and I just went and told him like, hey man, thank you so much. Because what I told him exactly is like, hey, like because it was you and because I had to fight you, that was like the hardest that I ever had to train and that I ever studied. Like it made me elevate everything. I trained super hard. I did my homework. I capitalized on a lot of my mistakes, just so many things. And it was because I knew that I was coming up against a giant, man. Like to me, like I looked at Eric Anders as a giant, like with a heart of a giant, blood of a giant. Like he's hard to put away. And I knew that I couldn't just take any crazy chances or get too ahead of myself. I knew that I would have to work and be smart at this. And so I told him all of these things, and I told him like much respect, and and it was because of him that I had to go to work and really bring out the best version of myself.
Yeah, it was an incredibly impressive performance, especially, after all the changes you've made in terms of training and what happened in your last fight. How much time off do you want to take now before your next one?
Time off, not too much. I really am very eager to get back to Thailand and start just getting settled in, especially working over at Tiger. I only got to do maybe 6 weeks there, if that, 5 or 6 weeks. And everything was very new, just meeting everybody, meeting the Hickman brothers and how things work. So now that I know how things work, now I can actually establish a specific type of training so that, all of this stuff can elevate. So time off is like the next couple weeks. I'm just here in Vegas, seeing my family, just reconnecting because I've been away for so long, and then just back to training and getting stuff in. So definitely, I hear there's a Singapore card at the end of the month. I mean, at the end of the year, hopefully, if that's true, I would love to get on that. But one more before that for sure. So maybe fall, end of summer, fall would be perfect to go back in there again.
Anyone come to mind?
No, but that would be one thing that we're definitely going to look at too. I definitely, I'm not the guy who ever like calls anybody out, but
Yeah.
I think that we'll start to look at names and see what's the best matchup. So we will be looking. I will be looking and having people's names in mind for sure.
And you feel like it seems to me like you're just scratching the surface here with your new training. Do you feel like we're about to see a whole new Khalil? Like the 2.0 started on Saturday, but there's a lot more room to grow here with what you're doing in Thailand. That we're going to see a much different Khalil Rountree the next time you fight.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot. Definitely scratching the surface. This is almost like a new beginning, and a lot of people saw that. They saw that too, and the guys in the division, they saw that as well. So it's like, there's new things to build off of. There's new ways to prepare how to beat me and things like that. So yeah, it's a bunch of new building blocks, and the marathon continues.
The war horse is
the
back.
Marathon continues.
Or maybe we need a war horse 2.0 or something like that, because it was a lot of fun to see a different version of you out there. And I love the stance. The stance was great. Keep doing that.
Thanks,
even if
man.
it doesn't actually help or do anything, it's just fun to watch. I'm sure it does something.
I appreciate that, yeah.
But yes.
I mean, it definitely it plays a key role. So.
Oh, for the uninformed, what does it do? Why do you move your leg like that?
I don't want to give away my secrets,
Okay.
but no, it's
sorry.
no, like DC and Joe Rogan pointed out in the fight. It keeps that front leg light. If I want to fire off a kick, if I want to fire off a teep, anything to kind of keep distance. I use it kind of sometimes to just, if I want to stay in the pocket, just relax a little bit, front legs there, light, so that I can keep my opponent at bay.
All right. Great stuff, Khalil. I appreciate it very much. Congratulations on the victory. Well done. Welcome back. And please don't hate me for asking that question.
Oh, man, I'm trying my hardest not to, man.
Oh, my God, no. Let me tell you something. I don't want to live in a world where Khalil Rountree hates me, the nicest human being on the planet. So if that's it, I think I might have to call it a day.
Man, I'm going to do my best to spend the whole day, like, meditating on how to forgive you
100%. Oh, no. Oh, Khalil, I'm sorry. Much love,
man.
You're
good, man.
Congratulations.
Yeah, same to you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Khalil Rountree.
Right,
welcome
thanks,
back.
guys.
What a performance out of him on Saturday. What a win against Eric Anders, a tough opponent who perhaps should go back to 185. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what he decides to do, but a great win nonetheless for Khalil Rountree Jr. All right, in a matter of moments, we're going to be joined by our next guest. I'm told that he is joining us. He is the former Bellator featherweight champion. He is a man who just returned a couple of weeks ago, was victorious in his return, but what a backstory, what a road to that return for Daniel Straus. He joins us now via the magic of Skype. Daniel, how are you?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for joining us. By the way, congratulations to the team. Dustin Poirier, I know you're buds with him. Great win for him, right, on Saturday?
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. He's been grinding for a long time, and couldn't be more prouder than him. You know what I mean? He definitely deserved it, man. He's a hard worker, great guy, great fighter, very humble. So he definitely deserved it, man.
It seems like everyone loves Max and him, but Max already a champion. The fact that he finally got that belt, Dustin got that belt, the whole MMA community seems very happy for Dustin, and especially what he's doing with the charity back home in Louisiana. So I'm really happy for him as well.
Yeah, man. I know Dustin's background, where he's coming from in Louisiana, and just busting out on the scene, and been doing this thing for a long time. Like I said, it's well deserved, and like you said, with a lot of people liking Max, and both of them great fighters. But like I said, man, I just couldn't be more happier for him.
That's great. Well, happy for you as well. So great to see you back. What an amazing story. And I know, I would imagine there's probably a part of you that is tired of talking about what happened on that night in December of 2017, the 17th of December to be exact. But for those that don't know, one more time, could you tell us what happened and what you went through?
Basically, what happened was I was involved in a motorcycle accident. I was coming around a bend, boom, hit a guardrail, and was stuck up under the guardrail. And I had some damage in my neck, central cord central cord um, injury that shut down my body. So I had no movement on my right side. I had no movement throughout my body, and just building back. And initially when it happened, I was being told that I'm not going to fight again. I'm not going to be able to walk straight. I'm not going to be able to do a lot of things. And so yeah, this past year and a half, man, it's just been a lot of just staying focused and just self-building. Just working on myself and trying to get back to fighting.
Wow. And do you have any recollection as to why the accident happened?
You know what? To be honest, I don't remember what happened. I've had some people tell me one thing. I've had other people tell me other things. I really don't know exactly what happened. Because I had went out. Like, as soon as I hit, I went out. So, no, I don't exactly know what happened, though.
Okay. And you were actually stuck under the rail?
Yeah, I was stuck up under the guardrail. I didn't. So usually, like, if you hit something, you're gonna slide. But however I hit, I went right up under the guardrail and I didn't move. So I didn't like slide and have no rug burn or no road rash or anything like that. I just stuck. So I think that's what really caused a lot of the damage in my neck.
Oh my! And was there fear that you would never walk again initially?
For me, no.
Uh-huh.
They said that, and to me, it just went in one ear and out the other. I know how I felt. I know I'm an athlete. I know I'm a very strong-minded, very strong body. For me, it just was like, yeah, we'll see. You know what I mean? And day 1, day 2, day 3, first week, second week, everything started to come back. So I knew it was going to take a while, but I knew I could get back to it.
How long did it take for you to get out of bed?
Out of bed, it was like on my own.
Yeah.
It was a good, probably week and a half, if not more.
Wow. And were you out initially? Like, did it take you a couple of days to wake up from it?
No, I guess I was back up within, I couldn't tell you, maybe 10 minutes of the accident.
Okay.
So all I really remember was hitting, boom. Well, I don't remember actually hitting, but hit. Next thing I remember is waking up under the guardrail, seeing the guardrail, and I couldn't really move at all. So I was trying to scream for somebody to pull me out from under the guardrail. And eventually a truck had pulled up and helped out, and they called the police and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Do you think if you weren't an athlete, if you weren't as strong as you are, that you don't make this kind of recovery? I mean, not even to fight, but like just to like have a normal life and walk again the way you do?
For sure. All
Wow.
day. I've been told that a lot, just being an athlete and just doing the things that we've done as athletes, fighting, training, and just, the rigorous, workouts that we got to do. It helped me with my mindset as far as like bouncing back with therapy. I went to a lot of therapy. I went to therapy and seen people that were dogging, but they didn't really have hope for what they were doing next. They're just doing it. For me, I went there and I just knew I was going to try to get better. I was going to get better. I was going to walk out of there. And that's just the mindset I kept. So just being an athlete is always just, made me a stronger person, I think.
Did anyone actually say to you, okay, like you can make a recovery, you can walk and have a normal life, but fighting out of the question?
Yeah, that was the number one thing that was told to me. Going into the hospital, first thing they wanted to do was emergency surgery. I told him I couldn't do emergency surgery because I fought, and the first thing he said is, "You don't have to worry about that. If
Wow,
that's over with." So it was a little tussle, not really a tussle, but we had words back and forth. And like I told him, you're not doing surgery. I'm definitely fighting again, and we just rode from there. My management and Michelle and Pauline from Facting Athletes, they got on top of it, found me, some better doctors and a great therapy place for me to go to, and that was that.
Wow, that's incredible. So what did they want to have surgery on?
They wanted to fuse from my C4, C5, and C6.
And you just said no, we're not doing this.
Yeah, we're not doing this. We're not doing that.
That's incredible,
man. It's maybe not always the smartest thing, but this is my life. This is what I've wanted to do. I want to fight. I have been injured most of my career. You know what I mean? This isn't something that's new to me. It's not something that I wasn't aware of. You know, it's just the accident made it kind of stand out. So, you know, just like I keep saying, man, battling and doing what I got to. I don't have no other choice. This is my life. You know what I mean? This is what I love to do. So I wasn't really going to be anything that held me from it.
So in the end, did you have any surgery?
No, I'm eventually going to have surgery, but right now I just completely did therapy.
Surgery on what?
My neck.
Oh, so that same surgery?
I don't know if I'm going to actually have that same surgery or one that's similar, but I'm going to have some you know, some doctors go into my neck from the years of wrestling and the sport of MMA is taking a toll on my body and my neck. So I definitely have some issues up there, but I'm able to fight. So
how long did it take for you to feel 100%?
Oh man. I wouldn't say I'm there yet.
Oh, wow.
You know, I just feel like I can continue to build on where I'm at. So I've never felt like I was ever 100%. You know, I could be 100% maybe 6 months ago, but for me, I don't feel like I'm 100% because I feel like I could continue to build. You know, I could continue to I have deficits that I've been working on, and, you know, 3 months ago they were there, now they're not. So for me, I can see growth, and, you know, that's all that it's about for me. So I feel like I can be 100% down the road, but it's just about building for me.
How long did it take for you to feel like, okay, I can accept a fight here, I can go in a training camp?
I think I went back into the gym sometime in like July, somewhere around there.
Of 2018? Of last year?
2018.
That's like 7 months later.
Exactly. So
that's insane.
You know, I wasn't doing much.
Okay.
Wasn't doing like any sparring or any, you know, major anything, but just being in there. And after that, I felt like if I could just build on this, you know, I'll be able to get in the right position. So it was about a good year.
Okay.
In December, I'll say I was ready to definitely take a fight.
Did you feel initially when you were starting to train, did you feel worried, like, about your neck, about doing the wrong thing? Did you feel hesitant, tentative at all?
I mean, the natural reactions. I'm not too nervous of it because, like I said, it's been an ongoing problem for years. I've been working with this neck since I've been in this game. So just because other people know about it doesn't mean that it's something that's going to knock me off of my rocker. So yeah, I was a little tentative, but nothing that was going to shake me or have me not get back into the cage.
Mentally, what was the process like? Were there days where you thought you may never walk again properly, that you really did believe you wouldn't fight again? How hard was it?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of down days, man. It was good days, bad days, but it's definitely been a rocky road. Like mentally, you know, I had days where I wanted to give up. Mentally, there was other days where I was on top of the world because I could see the improvement. And funny thing is one of my last doctor visits, I had told myself going into it, I'm just like, you know what? I don't know if I questioned myself a lot. I didn't know if this was something I wanted to continue doing. So yeah, it played with me a lot. But you know, I think, you know, I'm just a true test of man. You know what I mean? True test of power.
You went in there, you won just a couple of weeks ago, like I said. You look good. I mean, it was just impressive considering what happened in the footage that we've seen of you, courtesy of Bellator. When you actually won, when the fight was over and you knew that you came all the way back and won in your fight and sort of looked like your old self, what was that like emotionally?
It was a lot, man. Like it's kind of hard to describe. You know, it's not just me. This has been a group effort among a lot of people, friends, family, coaches. Everyone knows my daughter is a big part of my life. So it wasn't just a good win for me. It was something refreshing for a lot of people that's been on this road with me. So it was good to get back in the win column. But I look at it like in any other fight. Went in, did my job, got out, ready to go back now.
Did you feel like yourself out there?
Nah.
No?
I don't really, not yet. You know what I mean? It was good to get in there and see where I was at and see, how I could handle the pressure of coming back to fighting and whatnot. But like I said, man, I feel like I can keep building. I can get to 100, soon, just as long as I keep building. So, I think I can fight just like the old me, but I would like to keep building on that, just like any other fighter would.
Were you more nervous or anxious than normally because this was the first fight in a while and after the injury?
I think so.
Yeah.
The anxiety was real bad, going into the fight, making weight and the 24 hours between making weight and getting into the cage. It was kind of nuts for me. I had a lot of, anxiety issues. I had a lot of doubt. Then I erased the doubt. I was just going on up and down on a lot of stuff. So it was definitely a game changer for me.
And is that not typical for you?
Not really. I usually I block everything out. I got my family and my friends there, and I don't think anything else about anything. From 2 weeks leading up to my fight, I usually just switch. I don't really care about anything. I don't really have too many notions or worries or anything like that. I just come to fight. That's just what I do. I fight. And this was the only time I really, I've been nervous. Of course, I'm nervous before fights, but this time was a little different. It was just, like I said, the anxiety of the whole, he's hurt, he's back, let's see how he does. So that was just really overwhelming for me.
Wow. Do you think that's going to stay with you now? Is this part of your new reality, or now that you got the first one out of the way, do you feel like that will subside?
I don't know. I would like to think that it'll be done.
Okay.
I work on my mental a lot. Even my coaches help me work on it. So it's just one of those things that if you break your hand, if you go into your next fight, you're going to be thinking about it. If you tear, a hamstring or whatever, you go into these next fights thinking about it. So it's not anything that's not unheard of or not normal, but, I just keep pushing forward, man. I keep trying to build those blocks and get over the humps and over the walls that I have.
And now, here's my biggest question for you, because I saw this clip, but I don't know if that's old footage or not. Are you back to riding motorcycles?
Yeah.
Oh
I was riding today.
What? How is that even possible? This is why I feel like I will never be. I can't even understand the mind of a fighter and how courageous you guys are and how special you are. If that happened to me, I wouldn't even walk within 100 feet of a motorcycle. You're back riding them? How's that possible?
Because the reason why I was back riding is because I had to get back fighting, and if I couldn't get back on the bike, I know I couldn't get back inside a cage.
Okay.
And again, that's just that mental in me and a little bit of the crazy in me. So got on the bike, still riding. Haven't been hit yet, so we good.
And how long did it take for you to get back on the bike for the first time after the surgery or the injury?
That took me a minute. That took me a while.
Yeah.
That took me a while. Yeah.
What was that like the first time?
Real nerve-wracking. I was going about 7 miles an hour. I thought I was about to die.
Damn.
It was kind of comical, actually, if you were there, but it was nerve-wracking, man.
More nerve-wracking than the hours before the fight?
I think so, because I love riding so much. You know what I mean? I don't want to give that up. I don't want to give nothing up. I want to give this fighting up, but riding, I definitely don't want to give up. You go down, you pick yourself up, whatever, but I don't want to have to give up something that I love. So, yeah, I think it was nerve-wracking.
Did it take over a year to get back on the bike?
Probably about a year.
Wow.
A little under a year. Because I wasn't supposed to be riding, obviously, but what you gonna tell me?
Have you ever seen the doctor who told you that you would never fight again? That it was like an obvious thing?
I haven't. I definitely wanted to go reach out to that guy, but I never went back and seen him. It was just, it's water under the bridge for me. Although I have seen my therapist over. His name's Guy over at NeuroFit 360, and love that guy. He definitely put a lot of work into me, and if anything, he's the one that I wanted to see more, because he put a lot of time and effort into me, and he did believe in me. And a doctor's gonna tell you whatever they're gonna tell you. I don't really. They're there for a reason. They got to make their money, whatever. But someone that put their time into me, that's who I really care about. So that's why I went back and showed, their progress.
Wow. Did he see the fight?
Yeah, I think he saw the fight.
That's amazing. That's incredible. What a story. When do you want to return?
Tomorrow if I can.
You're ready.
Whenever I think I want to get something in the summer. The past couple years been a little lackluster with the injuries and sitting out a while. But I want to get back on this. I want to get back on my groove, man. I want to just get fighting, stay healthy, and stay active.
I'm very happy for you, man. I'm also happy that the hair has grown out, because that was
that.
Yeah, man, that was devastating when you had to cut that. My heart bled for you on that one. So the hair is back. You are back. You're close to 100%. What a great story.
Yes,
well done to you. You're an inspiration. Really incredible to see what you were able to overcome. Congratulations on all of that, and congratulations on the win a couple of weeks ago. I'm looking forward to your next one.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. There he is, Daniel Straus. What a story. On our YouTube page, on youtube.com/ESPN MMA, a couple weeks ago, we posted a video that I believe Bellator produced of his recovery. It's a little bit about the accident itself. Obviously, there's not a lot of footage of that, but then a lot of great footage, really inspiring footage on the recovery. And so if you want to see more on what Daniel Straus had to overcome, I highly suggest checking it out. He defeated Shane Crutchin on March 29th in Temecula, beat him in the first round via rear naked choke. Prior to that, he had lost 2 in a row. And like I said, he's a former Bellator featherweight champion, 2-time Bellator featherweight champion. And now I'm curious to see what this new Daniel Straus does in his return after that horrific motorcycle accident. Okay. One man who knows a lot about Daniel Straus is our next guest. We're efforting, as they like to say in the TV business. Corporate Jake loves to say efforting. That's one of his favorite lines. Corporate Jake was in Atlanta with us for the first time. Corporate Jake and New York Rick were in Atlanta for different reasons, different jobs. But I thought that I didn't know if Atlanta was big enough for those two egos, and in the end, Atlanta survived. But if you
mean
felt
3 egos when you include yourself?
Well, no, I don't. I think I'm a pretty humble guy. How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does Khalil Rountree do you think hates me right now? Do you think he really hates me? Like, do you think that
15?
15%? Oh, 15 on 10?
Scale of 1 to 10. 15.
Oh gosh, I was actually excited there for a second when you said 15%. My theory is, if you're gonna be that open with the good stuff, and then when it's very noticeable, I feel like it's worth asking. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I just felt like, wow, like I was actually kind of hurt by it. It was one of the great love affairs in our sport, and I didn't want it to be true. And there's only one way to find out, and that's to ask someone. Maybe you can make the argument not on an interview, but here we are talking, and thought having a nice conversation, and I feel like I salvaged it in the end, or at least that's what I'm telling myself. I hope I salvaged it. He's a great guy. I mean, a true mensch, if there ever was one. One of the nicest human beings in this sport. So anyway, I'll be thinking about that until I apologize profusely afterwards. But in a matter of moments, we're going to be joined by one of the head coaches at American Top Team. Our other producer, Daniel, is telling me that if I watch Game of Thrones, that will salvage it. I feel like not. I actually was watching Charles Barkley yesterday on the NBA on TNT pregame show, and he said that he has not seen Game of Thrones, a second of it, or The Sopranos. I have not seen Sopranos.
Neither have I.
Game of Thrones, The Wire. I have not seen. Give me some other ones that everyone watches. There's like those other. There was another one. All those. Breaking Bad. Never seen an episode. All those shows that everyone's been watching these days. You know the ones. Haven't seen a second of them. The Wonder Years, phenomenal. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, phenomenal. Seinfeld, even better. The rest, Not a second. And you know what? Damn proud of it. I will never watch him. All of you wasting your time on a Sunday night watching that nonsense, come on. Oh, yes, Greg Rosenstein reminded me. Fight Club, never seen it either. What else? Star Wars, never seen it. And here's one that will probably blow your mind. You ready for this one? Ready for this? I've probably seen of all the films, and I'm not talking about the new ones, of all the Rockies, I've probably seen 5%. A little bit here, a little bit there. I've never sat down and watched a full Rocky. How about that? Mind blown or what? Anyone? Everyone. I did see Creed, and I saw the Rocky one at the end, which is almost more embarrassing than anything. Like I saw the Mason the Line Dixon one with Antonio Tarver. I saw that one, saw Creed, didn't see any of the old ones. What was I doing as a child, you may ask? I was watching a lot of basketball. I was watching a lot of other sports, like live sports, but I wasn't like a big movie TV guy. I liked a lot of WWE, a lot of wrestling, a little WCW, but more WWE. I was more of a WWF guy, if I'm being. I have seen Ready to Rumble, Voice of God. I have seen Ready to Rumble. That was a phenomenal film starring David Arquette. In fact, I think I saw it multiple times. I saw it in theaters, and I thought it was great. And I loved how they made the movie into an angle afterwards. Like then he became champion. Like I was one of those people. He actually won this belt right here, not the NWO one, but the World Heavyweight Championship. I was one of those people who actually thought the angle was good. I didn't feel like it soiled the sanctity of the title. I thought everyone was acting a little bit too hoity-toity. So I've seen that. That's a great film. And otherwise, you can ask me if there are any other, culturally impactful films or TV shows. I probably have not seen them. The Wonder Years, though, if you're out there and you have not seen The Wonder Years, please trust me on this. The Wonder Years pretty much sums up my entire adolescence. It's just a phenomenal series. You guys saw it back there, right? Anyone? Wonder Year fans? Yes? No? Okay. Jay, my man. Jay's seen The Wonder Years. I knew I could count on him. Anyhow, Matter of Moments, we're going to be joined by Mike Brown. I want to give a shout out to Rich Franklin, who on Saturday, it was announced, is the second inductee in the Jeff Wagenheim manager, Big Lebowski. Never seen it. That's another one. Wow, I'm a huge loser. Even bigger than I thought. Big Lebowski, never seen it. There you go. There's another. Star Wars, never seen it. How about that? Not a second. Oh yeah. Okay, fine. I'm going to take back. I've seen all of those. I love those. I did see Back to the Future, if that counts. Anyway, Rich Franklin inducted into the Hall of Fame, or will be inducted. He was announced as a inductee for 2018 alongside Michael Bisping. He's going in as a pioneer. By the way, Ariel the Bad Guy, a couple weeks ago, you'll recall, I actually said, remember, I said Jens Pulver, who it's not looking good because Franklin's a pioneer, but maybe next year. And then I said Rich Franklin at the end. So apparently someone in Zoofaland is paying attention to the program because I said it. And, usually when I say these things, speak them into existence. But in all honesty, that was a nice surprise. I actually saw Rich Franklin a couple weeks ago at the One Championship media event in Las Vegas before UFC 235. And I was like, hey, Rich, long time no see. He now works for One Championship, and he lives in Singapore. So it's not like you'll see him in Vegas or you'll see him at a random UFC event. He's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And he was talking to me a little bit about his relationship with the UFC, and I actually brought up the Hall of Fame and why I feel like, hey, I feel like you should be honored. I mean, you were one of the faces of the UFC. He headlined the first ever Tough finale. People forget about that. They think it's Bonner Griffin or Sanchez Florian. No, it was Ken Shamrock versus Rich Franklin in the main event of the Tough 1 finale. And he beat Ken Shamrock. And then he went on to win the title against Evan Tanner. And he went on to defend the title against Nate Quarry. Remember that amazing knockout where Quarry was stiff as a board as he was falling down? And then he beat my favorite fighter at the time, David Loiseau, which I was a little bit sad about. But I always thought that he should be honored. I know he wasn't the longest title reign of all time, but it was a pretty successful title reign. And of course, he ran into a buzzsaw in Anderson Silva. But I always thought he should be in the Hall of Fame. So I'm happy to hear that they are putting him in the Hall of Fame. I think it's a little funky how, I love that they're paying more attention to the Hall of Fame these days. I've talked about this in the past. I think it's a little funky that they're sticking to, it has to be one pioneer and one modern day and one fight. I just feel like the most deserving should go in. It's not like in the Baseball Hall of Fame, you say, it's going to be one pitcher and one outfielder or something like that. But the UFC Hall of Fame is different. I just like that they're taking it more seriously. They're making it into a big deal. And you'll recall, we spoke about this a couple weeks ago. It's just one fight card this international fight weekend, if you will, if you want to call it that. It's Saturday night, but then on Friday, they're going to have the Hall of Fame. So they used to have like the tough finale on Friday. Now no more tough finale, just one card, and then Hall of Fame on Friday. So I am excited about that. I'm looking forward to that. Want to give a shout out as we're trying to. Oh, okay. Mike Brown just landed, so we're going to call him. Or should we swap? We could swap. Give him a little more time. All right. Ross Pearson retired. All the best to him. One of the pioneers of UK MMA. So he retired last Monday. Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Alexa Grasso has been added to UFC 238 in Chicago. That's June 8th. They had that seasonal press conference on Friday in Atlanta. I thought the stars of the whole darn thing were Cejudo. Cejudo's gimmick right now, where he keeps reminding us that he's an Olympic champion, Olympic gold medalist, is just phenomenal. I hope he keeps it up. Ben Askren, I thought, was great, even though his opponent, Jorge Masvidal, was not there. Unfortunately, no John Jones. He was under the weather, they said, but Thiago Santos was there. And how about Anthony Smith? I asked him about Luke Rockhold's comments on this show a couple of weeks ago, and holy smokes. If it was up to me, after hearing that, why don't we just do Luke Rockhold versus Anthony Smith on July 6th, and then do Jan Blachowicz versus Alexander Gustafsson on June 1st? Who would hate that, honestly? I mean, that was just an incredible promo, if there ever was one. It was amazing. Did you hear what he said about Rockhold? He said he wanted to punch a hole in him and he'd fight him tomorrow on one leg. He really does not like Luke Rockhold, Anthony Smith. And Rockhold seems to have no respect for Anthony Smith. I want to see them switch it. Just switch it. Just call the audible. Who would care? Who would be upset? Everyone in Stockholm is buying tickets for Gustafsson. He's the main draw there. And what an addition to International Fight Week, that card on July 6th, if you do Smith versus Rockhold. There's legit heat there. Legit heat. Anyway, that was great. And also I asked Dana White about Brock Lesnar, and he said that it's not a done deal. I never reported, by the way, that it was a done deal, just for the record. I said that's what they want, which they've been open about. That's what DC wants. That's what Brock wants. That's what UFC. But I never said it was a done deal. So all this talk that is fake news, I never said it was a done deal. That's what they want. So they're working on it. Anyway, let's go to our next guest, standing by, joining us via FaceTime, head coach for the new UFC interim lightweight champion, the great Mike Brown. There he is, who just landed. Did you just land, Mike?
Fresh off the plane. Yeah,
oh my
literally. We were a couple minutes late, but we're here.
Oh, my God. Where are you right now? You're in the airport?
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale Airport. Just landed.
So you're just chilling, doing this interview with us?
Happy to be here. This is still smiling since Saturday. Haven't stopped.
Okay, great. Well, let's go to the beginning here. And by the way, congratulations to you and the team. When did you first start working with Dustin Poirier? Do you recall?
Yeah, 2012. The first fight was Jonathan Brookins.
Okay, and when you first met him, compared to who he is today and how he fights today, how big of a change, how big of an improvement would you say?
I mean, huge. I don't know how I can put it in numbers or measurements, but it's pretty damn big. I mean, he was always a super talented guy, you know, both physically and mentally. But he's come a lot in both parts. His mental game has increased dramatically, and physically he's changed quite a bit also.
Okay, so I'm happy that you highlighted the mental game, because I feel like, you know, maybe he was always destined to be the bridesmaid. It seemed like when he got the big fight, for whatever reason, he couldn't get over that hump. How did you turn him into this kind of mentally strong fighter? What did you guys do?
Well, I mean, I can't take credit for his success, but I will say, I mean, the big thing was he's always been a monster and super talented. I think one of the biggest changes came after the Michael Johnson fight. You know, like he's so talented. He hits so hard with both hands, but also his conditioning is really, really phenomenal. And he didn't get to show that off, because normally he would run out there and try to knock the dude senseless in a minute or two, right? And that would work 4 out of 5 times. But if he slows it down and is a little more careful and protects himself a little better, the winning percentage goes way up. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 now. It's like, because he keeps his power in both hands for 25 minutes. There's no reason to go out there and get into a crazy firefight in the first minute.
As you were preparing for this fight, when you found out about this fight and the build-up to this fight, how confident were you that you guys would come out on top? Because it seemed like all the experts were picking Holloway. Holloway, I believe, was a slight favorite going in by the time the books were closed. How confident were you heading into it?
I was confident, man. Honestly, I have a ton of respect for Holloway. Holloway's a stud. He's one of the pound best. He has been for a long time. But 25 minutes is a long time to be in there with Dustin. I feel it's like he's going to get to you at one point. That's a long time to be dodging his bullets. He hits very hard with both hands, and I just thought he would hurt him at some point. I was actually surprised. Max took so many hard shots. His chin is incredible.
As his coach, and I couldn't agree with you, and it seemed to me, as we're looking at the pictures here, there was a bigger size advantage than I was expecting. Like, I thought this would be the fight where Max Holloway, finally comes to the conclusion that he's better off as a lightweight. At least right now at 27, I feel like he should actually go back to 145 because there was a big size advantage or disadvantage for him. Did you expect that as well?
You could see that. I couldn't tell much of a size. Max was a little taller. Dustin was, looked thicker and more muscular, I thought. But, I could see definitely a power edge. But I kind of see that a lot with Dustin. He hits very hard, and it doesn't go away. He's going to hit hard for 25 minutes.
As far as what he did in there, and as far as you being his head coach, what were you most proud of in terms of him executing the game plan, what you guys had worked on? What were some of the highlights of the fight for you, from your eyes?
For me, it was the most he was ever listened and was receptive to coaching.
Wow.
In there. I don't always see that from him. He's a very instinctual fighter, a lot of the times. He just goes in there and does his thing, and it's, usually it's kill or be killed, and it's usually the other guy that goes down. But he, many times he would hear the call, and he would immediately try it, and it was working. The stuff that we're calling was working, and it was cool to see that.
Did you talk to him about this before the fight? Like, hey, I need you to listen to me more. I need you to be more receptive to my coaching, or is this just something that happened?
No, that's something that myself, Daya, who's a major part of his game, Pitbull. We've all been doing this. This is something we've been trying to push, and it's always improving. Daya's his boxing coach, and that's his game, man. His hands are incredible. He's also always working his kicks and knee game with Pitbull. He's a very well-rounded guy, and he's implementing different things all the time. It's his life study, and he's always getting better.
As the story goes, he actually went from his home in Louisiana to Florida before he even had a fight book, but he felt like something was coming. He desperately wanted that shot at the title. He was blowing up Dana White's phone. And so I'm wondering, as his coach, like, how do you stop him from either A, cracking, but B, peaking too soon? Because you're there, you're training for a fight, you don't even have a fight yet. Like, that must have been a tricky game in its own right, correct?
Yeah, just, pulling him back a little bit, pulling back on the reins. You don't got to go hard every day. Sometimes it's just about, being in there, working on stuff. You don't have to kill yourself all the time when you're in there. Just gotta steady progress. Trying to get better every day. But we don't need to destroy our bodies doing it. I think that's the big difference. But there was a couple times in the camp where we had to pull him back. We had to rest him, because he was there for 13 weeks. And especially with a big fight on your mind, you can't help but push very hard.
Have you seen the fight back? Have you watched the replay?
I did. I watched it back that night, and I'm actually excited to watch it again. It was an incredible fight. Max Holloway is a stud, and it was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it really was. Those two fights in particular, like coming back to back, was, I mean, it's like emotional almost to watch them, especially live. How did you score it?
You know, it's funny. I chatted with you about it like just after the fight, and after looking, it kind of went down like I thought. I thought he won the first two, and I thought those were very clear. He had hurt him bad in both of them. The second round, maybe Max was controlling it for maybe 3.5, 4 minutes with a little more volume, but then he got hurt bad at the end of the second. So it was clearly he was up 2. Then I thought Dustin got outworked and lost the third. And then I thought he won the fourth, but it was close. But I thought he won. I thought a bad judge could give it to Max, and I kind of score it like that. I always think, well, you know, we won or lost that round, but was it close enough where they can screw it up? And it was close enough where we could screw it up. So I thought we still had to win the fifth. I thought he won the fifth, so I thought we won 4-1. But I knew maybe we might see, you know, 3-2. But it came down like I thought. And then I looked back at the scorecards, and all 3 judges had it just like that. They all gave Max the third.
Khabib Nurmagomedov thought it was a draw. So good thing.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know how we scored that. But.
Yeah, me neither.
What do you think? How did you have it?
I thought the exact same as you. I don't understand how we can get to a draw, because that would mean there had to have been a 10-8 in there, right, to be a draw?
Right.
Because there's 5 rounds, so I don't see where the 10-8 comes from.
Maybe in his mind he had a 10-10 somewhere or something, but
no, that's
I don't know.
It's like a unicorn. You never see 10-10s.
Right, no, of course. But I just think I knew he was going to get one of those rounds, 4 or 5. You know, I thought he won both of them, but I'm like, there's no way he's not going to. And I thought also a bad judge could give them all 5. Right. You know, because the third round, you know, was semi-close. I thought Max won it, but you know, a bad judge could also have it 5-0 Dustin.
Anything in particular out of the ordinary? I'm always curious about this. We just talked to Izzy about it, that you said to him going into the fifth, sometimes in those, you know, those final moments that you're together going into the last round of a championship fight, you go to a different place, you talk about something else to put him in the right mindset to you know, put an exclamation point on the performance. Anything out of the ordinary that you recall telling him in those final moments?
I mean, the only thing different is, you know, 5 minutes, win this round, and you're a world champ. So those are heavy words.
Yeah.
You know, this is his dream, and it's been his goal from the time I've known him, and he's been clear about it. You know, he's not in it for second place, and it's all or nothing with him. And he's made the sacrifices, and it's beautiful to see. It's a beautiful moment, and it's the fact that he took the long road, the hard road. He is the guy who took the second most amount of fights ever to get there. Right? Only Bisping has fought more times to get to that title.
Yep.
So it's beautiful to see somebody's hard work finally pay off, and his motivation is pure, and it's just a beautiful thing. That's it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It seems like everyone is so happy for him. And maybe it's because Max already has a title, so it's not all lost for him. He gets his title. Dustin gets his title. And like you said, what a road it has been. 22 fights it takes for him to get that UFC title shot and to win that belt. And the emotion that he showed afterwards, I mean, all of it was just so beautiful. And I wonder if for you guys, do you feel... And I know that, like, I almost hate that we have to ask this and harp on it, but does it feel like he's a champion? Or do you feel like, okay, this just secures our spot to fight the champion? How do you view that belt? Because it is an interim title.
No, but to me, it feels like a world title because he beat a world champion, you know?
Okay, yep.
He beat Max, who was a world champ. This is not like he beat a guy who's, you know, I don't know, ranked 9th in the weight class. No, he beat a guy who's a world champion, hasn't lost for however many fights. You know, he's one of the pound for pound best. It was to me, it was very fulfilling, and yeah, I'm happy with it. And the Khabib fight will be exciting and fun too. That's another world champ. I mean, this is big stuff, man. This is four fights in a row where Dustin's beat a world champion or former world champion.
Yeah.
With Eddie, Alvarez, with Pettis, with Gaethje, and now with Max. These guys are all world champions. I mean, he's beating these super studs, and they're all fight of the night, fight of the year candidates, right? These fights are incredible. This is special. You know, he's a special guy.
It's one of the great 4-fight stretches in UFC history. And be honest with me, did you see this? Like, did you see this coming when you first met him going into that Brookins fight? Did you think he could turn into this?
Dude, he's you know, I did, man. He's you could see he's got some gifts. There's a lot of it is mental, and there's some I think genetics are a factor, and he's got everything that he needs, man. You know, he got the drive, and he's got this incredible punching power and an incredible gas tank. And I always say this, I think the gas tank is the most important attribute you can have as a fighter. Cardio is king, man. Without that, it's difficult in these long fights. You know, in 5 rounds fights with world-class guys. I mean, anyone can win a 1-minute, 2-minute fight. Anybody can, right? But these 5-minute wars with studs, with world-class fighters, you need to have a very good gas tank, world-class. And his is as good as it gets.
How about this sequence? After the fight, he says, quote, "I've been saying it all week to her, my wife, my management, to my team, that in the words of Teddy Atlas, I knew I had 25 minutes to make life fair tonight. Nothing mattered." And then how about Teddy Atlas retweeting that? Did you see that? What he wrote? He said, "Congratulations, really Dustin cool. Poirier. The word champion was created for people like you." That's Teddy Atlas, legend, Teddy Atlas. That, I mean, as a coach yourself, that has to be pretty darn cool to see that recognition from him.
No, very cool. I've heard these quotes from Dustin before. He follows Teddy. He's a big boxing fan, and those words were compelling to him. You know, those meant something, and he feels them deep, and he believes in that, and he made it happen. You know, it didn't matter who was in front of him. He knew he could punch his way to a better life, punch his way to a world championship.
Now, you know very well, Mike, you're a former fighter. This is a crazy game. Are you 100% confident that he will get Khabib next in September?
Yeah, I mean, I could not see anything besides that, you know. But I mean, unless there's barring injury.
Right.
You know,
but just the politics, you know, people sliding in there, taking the spot. We've seen, I mean, look no further than Colby Covington, right?
Yeah. I mean, and that was a case where there was an injury was a factor.
Right.
You know, that was the problem. But why wouldn't you want to make that fight? You know, Dustin and Khabib is the fight everyone wants to see. This is going to be huge.
Any concerns about having to fight him in Abu Dhabi?
You know, I think once you're in the cage, that's it. It's just 2 guys in there. It doesn't matter who's on the outside. I don't think that's a factor, you know. Sometimes I think I preferred fighting on the road. I like that. I like when everyone counts you out. I like when the boos, you know. This is like, it fires you up. It makes you, you know, sometimes it's tougher when you're home and everyone thinks you're amazing and you're going to kill the guy. That's tougher. Those are, you know, you got higher standards to stand up to or whatever. But when you're the underdog or everybody's counting you out, I kind of like those moments, and it's I think the pressure's off and you can be loose and relaxed and fight. That's my take, and I think Dustin's the same, and that's when he fights the best, when he's having fun, he's loose and relaxed, and he's going to do it, man. 25 minutes. It's hard to dodge those bullets for 25 minutes from this kid.
The fight isn't even 48 hours old, but I'm wondering if you've already started to think about Khabib and a path to victory and how to beat this man. He's undefeated. He's lost maybe 1 round in his UFC career, maybe 2. Have you already started to find the fact that you're thinking about him and how to beat him?
Yeah, of course, man. I'm a student of the game. I love the sport. I'm a fan, you know, so I'm always watching him, studying his tapes. I mean, for many reasons, you know, and I've always kind of thought about, you know, how Dustin's going to match up with this guy, because I know eventually it's going to happen. You know, I know he's going to the top and he's going to be there, and you know, eventually these fights are going to happen. Yeah, we'll be ready.
You like the matchup for Dustin?
Yeah, it's a different puzzle. It's an exciting puzzle. but Dustin's got a lot of weapons. You know, he's dangerous on the feet. He's dangerous on the ground, and most importantly, he's in there for 5. He's going to go hard 5.
What is the difference, Mike? And I'll let you go after this. You won the WEC title, one of the great performances, and you had your run. But now you're creating champions. You're the coach. You're seeing fighters live out their dreams, and you're there from the beginning helping to mold them as they come to the gym. And I don't mean necessarily, I mean, of course, let's give credit to Tim Crater and his team back in Louisiana, but I think ATT helped take Dustin to a whole other level, if I do say so myself. And I consider you one of the top 5 coaches, maybe top 3 in the game right now. You're doing incredible work. But for you to see those men and women realize their dreams, as opposed to when you did it yourself, what is the difference? Like, can you even compare the satisfaction that you got from then compared to now? Is one greater than the other? How would you describe that?
No, it's beautiful. It's I couldn't imagine anything greater that I could be doing in my life right now. You know, with to me, it's a dream. You know, it's my life study. It's my passion, and just to see my friends, because they're also like, Dustin's one of my very close friends, you know, one of my best friends. So to see this kid's like dream come true and change his life forever and change his family's life forever, it's like, it brings tears to my eyes. You know, it's you know, it's just, there's no words that can describe it.
Amen. Yeah, I think on Saturday, that moment, Adesanya's moment with his family afterwards and his coach, for me at least, reminds us again why we love this sport so much and why we think it's the greatest sport on earth. Congratulations to you and Dustin and the rest of the team. It's really just amazing to see what you've become as a coach, Mike, and I really appreciate you doing this literally seconds off of the plane over there. That's really cool of you to do. Thank you so much.
No, I love it. Thanks so much for having me on here. I love your show and love what you've done.
Thank you, Mike. There he is, Mike Brown, head coach for one Dustin Poirier. What a great moment that was. And also, if you follow Dustin on social media, great moment with his daughter at home yesterday where she's talking about his boo-boos and all that on his eye. For those asking, of course, I asked Dustin Poirier to come on the show today, but he said he wanted a day off with his family, hoping to have him on next week. So yes, I see what you're saying, but, I mean, the guy deserves a day off, all right? I obviously would love to have him on, but days off are very understandable as well. So congratulations to him, the whole team, Mike Brown, the whole team at American Top Team. It's a really great story, and I was happy to witness it in person. Now, let us move along to our next guest. I'm really excited about this. I know a lot of you are as well. In a matter of seconds, we are going to be joined by, right now, the most decorated wrestler from the great country known as the US of A. He is a 4-time world champion. He is a former Olympic gold medalist from the 2012 game. He is a multiple-time All-American back in the day, University of Nebraska, multiple-time national champion. This man is a beast. He is the face of American wrestling. And on May 6th, he will be competing at the Beat the Streets event here in New York City. Well, a couple hours from here in New York City at the Hulu Theater attached to Madison Square Garden. He'll be going up against our guy, Ben Askren, in a dream match of sorts. At 79 kilograms, it will be Jordan Burroughs against Ben Askren. Wow, in a freestyle exhibition wrestling match. This is exciting stuff, and now we are being joined by wrestling royalty, Jordan Burroughs, a.k.a. All I See Is Gold. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. Ariel, thanks for having me on your show, bro. I've been a big fan for a long time. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. This is great. This is a real honor for us. Thank you for doing it. I know you're very busy, so I really appreciate the time. So let's start with how this came about, because when I broke the news last week, the wrestling community, everyone, even casual wrestling fans, like, whoa, everyone knows Jordan Burroughs. Even if you aren't a wrestling person, everyone knows who you are. And, of course, everyone in MMA knows Ben. How did this match come about?
Well, Ben preceded me in my wrestling career. He was an Olympian in 2008 at the same weight class that I compete at now. And I was the Olympian that followed him in 2012 in London. And so I think that this has been something that's been imminent. Everyone has wanted it to happen for such a long period of time, but when he made the transition to MMA, a lot of people thought that he had a lot of wrestling left within him. And he's dabbled with the sport a little bit in the past, and he's done some really cool things to enhance and grow the reputation that wrestlers have in the UFC and in MMA in general. And so I think once a match was on the table, like, okay, let's create an awesome matchup that people can get behind, get excited about. Who can this guy be? What individual can really generate and move the needle and create buzz that we need in the wrestling community. And Ben was that guy, and he's always willing to elevate his brand and put something on the line. So it's cool to see. I'm glad that he accepted the challenge, and it's going to be a great match.
Have you ever competed against him in any way, shape, or form?
No, Ben is a few years older than me. So when I was a freshman in college, Ben was a senior in college, right? So he was the man. When I was coming up, I was a young buck. I wasn't at this elite level and status that I'm at this point in time. So I watched him and idolized him. He was an icon in our sport. And so then when I started to come into my own, establish my own identity, I'm like, man, I think I could beat this guy. Like I'm better than this guy. So this is the first time that we'll ever get a chance to compete. We've rolled around a little bit, but this is the first time that legitimate official matchup with referees and fans and excitement, and that there's something on the line. So it'll be cool.
Okay, but so you have trained together, right?
Yeah, we rolled around. Absolutely.
Okay. Who gets the better of who?
I'm gonna wait till May 6th to let you guys know. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too soon.
Okay.
It's not fair, and I get a lot of respect for Ben. I think he's I wonder how he's preparing. Like I wonder what he's doing right now because he's ingrained so tightly into the UFC culture, and I know he has a fight coming up. But I wonder how he's preparing for this because it presents a unique matchup for him.
My impression is he's taking this very seriously. He's training for this like it's a fight, like his current career fighting. Are you doing that? Because I know you have world championships coming up as well.
Yeah, well, I'm always training hard. I'm always prepared. I'm always ready for any opponent. So I'm preparing for the very best wrestlers in the world. So that's why going into this matchup with Ben, and not to say that Ben isn't a great wrestler, but I'm preparing for the most elite guys in the world: Russia, Azerbaijan, Iran. And so this is, I don't want to call it a novelty or any showmanship, but when I go out there to compete, I compete to win. And this is no different.
Ben reached out to me last night, and you know, if you follow his MMA career, he likes to ruffle feathers. He likes to get under his opponent's skin.
He hasn't done that to me, though.
Well,
like,
that's the thing.
I think he has so much respect for me that he's like, listen, let's just compete. Let's have a good time. Typically, like I follow him on Twitter, so he gets into people's heads and under their skin. But for me, he hasn't thrown any shots at me, which I appreciate and respect. But because I think he knows.
Well, the thing is, I don't expect it to happen because he told me, don't even try. He goes, I know you like to stir the pot. Don't even try to stir the pot because I have the utmost respect for him and none of that is coming out of my mouth. I was like, come on, Ben, there's got to be something there. Really? Nothing? You got nothing?
And likewise.
Really?
And likewise. I have a ton of respect for Ben as well. But it's going to be fun, bro. Like, I'm so excited for this event. This is one of the first times in a long time that I think that non-traditional wrestling fans are getting excited and behind a wrestling matchup. Just like seeing some of the tweets from earlier today, like, well, who is this? All I see is gold guy. Who is Jordan Burroughs? Why is he on the show?
Yeah.
But I think that after watching me compete, because essentially when you think about the champions in the UFC right now, a lot of them are former wrestlers, done extremely well in the UFC. And then you look at takedown defense, takedown offense, how important it is to have a solid ground game, and how heralded being a quality wrestler is in the UFC community. So then you step outside of the UFC into elite Olympic level wrestling, and you see that as good as the guys in the UFC are, there's still another level to that. And that's the one that we are on, myself and David Taylor, Kyle Day, Kyle Snyder, all of these guys. And so it's good, man. I appreciate this platform and the opportunity to do this, but you know, I'm doing it for the wrestlers.
Is there a part of you also that feels like, I mean, obviously you want to test yourself against them. There's a great backstory there, but as you know, it always seems like wrestling is kind of in the shadows in combat sports and sports in general. We know about the saga with the Olympics. It's in, it's out. Do you feel like this is the kind of stuff that wrestling needs to do to attract the casual fan, and that's part of the motivation to do this as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I know everyone that knows and appreciates and respects Ben and what he's done, they appreciate him because not only is he a quality fighter, but because of his background in wrestling. The non-traditional wrestling fan hears Olympian, two-time NCAA champion, two-time Hodge Trophy winner, like, wow, this guy was amazing. He still has a shot. He's been out of the game for a long time, but he's got a shot. And that's awesome. And that's exciting. And I think that is necessary for this sport to continue to thrive. I try to be a trailblazer as often as possible so we can step out of that niche group of fans and out of that misfit representation and really step into the spotlight, and people say, hey, listen, wrestling is really cool as well.
So we have a lot in common, Jordan and I, because first of all,
Oh yeah.
Share the same birthday, July 8th. My man.
Yay,
Cancer.
let's go. Cancers, holla at me.
Respect. Buffalo Bills fan?
What? You from Buffalo?
No, but I just love the Bills.
Get out of here.
Look, I have them on my
Go
desk.
Bills.
Look at that.
That's crazy. So my wife's uncle is Thurman Thomas.
What?
And so Thurman Thomas is
No way.
like family. We call him Uncle Thurm. He's not even Thurman Thomas.
Your wife's uncle is Thurman Thomas. Number 34.
It's Thurman Thomas.
Oklahoma State.
Number 34.
What?
I've been to a ton of Bills games. I've hung out with Bruce Smith and
Come on.
Daryl Talley and all these guys. Yeah, bro. We went to his retirement party and game. And he's family.
Oh my! Wait,
I'm a Bills fan through and through.
Were you a
I
Bills
got to
fan
speak-
before you met your wife?
No, by association. I was
Okay.
actually a Broncos fan before
Okay.
I met my wife. And so like I got a chance to speak with Coach McDermott and the rest of the Bills team at training camp last year. Like,
Oh my God!
I'm ingrained. I love the Bills, bro. I'm a big Bills fan.
Next time you go, now we have each other's numbers. Don't be a stranger. All right.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Wow.
No doubt.
That is. I know that Thurman went to DC's fight when he fought in Buffalo. The two Oklahoma State guys.
Yeah, he's a big fan.
They had a moment there, but I had no idea. That's incredible. Okay, so we share that in common. You're 30. You're about to turn 31, but you're still for the uninformed. You're still actively competing in wrestling, correct? This is your full-time job.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, anyone who thinks that I'm detracting from what Ben's doing, equally so, I'm going away from and stepping away from what I'm doing as an athlete, as a competitor, because we are preparing for. I'm actually competing this weekend. I'm headed to Buenos Aires, Argentina tomorrow.
Wow.
To compete at the Pan Am Championships on Sunday. And so a lot of stuff going on right now. We got the World Team Trials in June, the World Championships in Kazakhstan in September, and then obviously the next Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan next summer in 2020. So I'm right in the thick of it as well. I know he has a lot of things coming up, but as do I. So that's why I feel like we're equally putting something on the line so people can just appreciate and respect what we're both doing for both of our respective sports. He's a wrestler, he's a fighter, and this is going to be fun.
And so part of my ignorance, because I'm used to the fight game, obviously, do you get paid to compete in these events? Or are you paid by the event? Or are you paid by the sponsor?
I do a lot less than what you guys get paid in the UFC. But I think that's why a lot of the former wrestlers make that transition,
right?
Because this is not a very lucrative sport that we're involved in. If you're a wrestler and you do it at this high of a level, you do it for the glory and the honor of considering yourself one of the toughest guys in the world. And so when I hear people say MMA is the toughest sport in the world or MMA is the best sport in the world, that's how I feel about wrestling. And more so because you don't get as much recognition or fame. You don't have celebrities ringside. You don't get to compete in Vegas. You don't get to make hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars per fight, depending upon your status. And so think about all those things that those guys do to compete and now, right, kind of negate a lot of the luxuries that you guys get. And that's what you have in wrestling. And so it's a sport that I've grown to love and I really appreciate. But yeah, it's fun, man. I'm in it. I'm in the thick of it. And I have an appreciation for the UFC too. I've been a big fan for a long time. I've watched a lot of my former teammates and friends and peers go on to do amazing things in the octagon. So it's really cool.
We'll get to that in a second, but I'm just curious. You are going to try out for the 2020 team, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal for me.
And is that like, do you have an age where you're going to stop competing? Do you know, or you haven't decided yet?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'd say wrestlers' primes are probably around this time. Most guys don't wrestle past 30 to 32. I'm
Right.
30. And then I look at the UFC, right, and I see guys really start to get into themselves and find themselves athletically at this age, 32 to 34 years old. And so I don't know, bro. I've considered a lot of options. That's something I have to sit down with my family after 2020 and say, hey, listen, how do I feel? Where do I want to live? Do I want to continue to compete? Am I still hungry? Do I still love it? There are a lot of intangibles that are going to go into factor in whether I decide to continue to wrestle or not. So we'll see.
What are the chances that you follow in the footsteps of many great American wrestlers and eventually move over to MMA?
I listen. I would love to. I just want to fight one time. That's it.
Oh,
I want one fight.
okay.
I just want one fight. because like for me, it's not about the status, not about the glory, it's not about the money. Like I just want to throw my hands and see what I'm made of. And I think that wrestlers and fighters have that same fighting spirit. Like there's just a spirit about you that it's it's such a beautiful art form in which you can implement strategy in order to subdue another individual. And I really feel like that's in wrestling and UFC. We collaborate in that way. And I've always thought about it. I've considered it when I was young. I was like, listen, I'm going to fight. I want to be a star. I'm going to fight. And then as I got better at this sport and I started to become an icon and what I was already doing, I'm like, man, I can't leave wrestling. Wrestling world needs me. I'm great at this. People love me. I inspire generations of people. And so I've thought about it. I've considered it. I don't know if I'm really gonna do it, but I've considered doing just one fight and then getting out with my hands clean. I don't want to get punched and beat up. Like if you lose a wrestling match, you get taken down, right? You might get put to your back or pushed out of bounds. You lose a fight, you got choked out, something's broken, right? You got knocked out. It's rough. It's a rough existence. I've never had to go to the hospital after a competition in wrestling, so it's a different game in the MMA world.
Wow. I have to say, first of all, I'm shocked that you've never had to go to the hospital once in your entire incredible career. That's impressive in its own right. But I'm getting a little tingly here. Jordan Burroughs MMA fight to me is a big deal.
Just one. Just one. I just
really?
want one.
We can start with
one fight deal.
But what if
one fight deal
what if
and
you
I'm
knock
out?
the guy out in 10 seconds and you're like, I like this?
Or what if I knock him out and I'm like, I don't like this?
Well, I tend to be a more positive guy. But so this is the thing. You are before it's all said and done, you are saying right now you will have at least one MMA fight.
Oh, no, I can't make any promises. I'm saying I consider it. It depends on what the offer was like and who my opponent was. I consider it. But I don't know, man. It's intriguing. It's definitely intriguing. I think every wrestler has thought about it for a period of time. I'm so comfortable with my identity as a wrestler that if I never fought, it wouldn't bother me one bit. But I'm also such a competitor that I've considered it for a long period of time. Like, man, what about just one?
Oh,
What
man.
could I do? Could I let my hands fly? Could I put someone out? So we'll see. I got to talk to my wife about it. She's probably shaking her head listening right now.
I feel like within 5 minutes of us saying goodbye, Scott Coker is going to call you and put you on that training camp program and secure. Anyone would be smart enough to do that. Now, have you ever actually sparred? Have you ever gone punched in the face?
Never.
Okay, so you don't know what it feels like because sometimes guys don't like it, right? Once it happens.
Yeah, but I mean, I've had things done to me, right, within a wrestling match.
right.
So, like, I don't think it's considerably different. Like, I honestly don't think it's considerably different. I've seen guys in the wrestling room break mentally, and guys that I didn't think were super tough go on to be extremely amazing fighters. So, like, I think my mental toughness and my athleticism and my physical prowess is I'd be successful if I decided to fight no matter what.
Have you talked to any of the guys who have made the transit, the DCs of the world, the Bens of the world? Have you talked to them about?
I have. I've talked to DC quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh man, DC holding out on me. He never told me about this.
Yeah. He actually invited me out to be on his show last year on The Ultimate Fighter. And so yeah, DC's an awesome guy, man. He's an awesome guy. He's kind of that hand. He's that facilitator between wrestling and MMA world. He's done a great job of keeping his hand inside of wrestling and always reaching out and being like a big brother and showing love to me. But yeah, he like when I talked to him about like, yo, what's the difference? Like, what do you feel? Is it easier? Is it harder? And he says like it's considerably easier.
Oh.
And maybe because DC is such an amazing athlete that him moving up to heavyweight, just the way he moves, the type of things that he's been through, the structure of life and that he's had is just different. I think that's one thing that's great for wrestlers is because we've started from a young age. Most people don't do their individual disciplines from such a young age. I started wrestling at 5 years old. My first weight class was 45 pounds. I've been wrestling for almost 25 years, right? I went to the structure of high school. I went to a Division I university with the best facilities and amazing coaching staff. I went through the structure of being in a Division I program for 5 years. So it's easy for me to always make weight, always be on time, live a life of integrity, train at my highest level, give 100% effort, stay clean with the things that I put into my body. I think that's just part of the spirit of what we've arrived from and what we've been built from for wrestlers, and I think that's why we're so successful.
And so I'm wondering, I remember you put out the tweet prior to the Khabib-Conor fight about saying like, oh, you'd help Conor prepare. Did anything ever happen there? Was there ever any talks about you helping Conor prepare for that fight?
No, I've never met Conor.
Okay.
I've never met Conor, bro. But the cool thing about it is like this matchup presents an amazing opportunity for me because a lot of people will consider Ben Askren probably one of the best wrestlers in all of the UFC. And so if I go out there and put the hammer on Ben Askren, right, people will understand like there's levels to this wrestling game. And so anyone who's looking to become a better wrestler in that middle to welterweight division, I'm the guy to come see, right? So like if you're anywhere from 145 to 185 pounds and you want to get better at wrestling and you see the status and the level of which we are competing at, then you want to come and see the best, like I'm that guy. And so I think this presents a pretty cool opportunity for me.
Well, but they never reached out to you to help prepare.
No, I've never met Conor. That
Okay.
was complete fabrication. I don't even know where that came from. Like they were like, yo, JV's training Conor. I'm like, oh, that's news to me. I found out the same way you guys found out. Somebody tweeted it to me. I had no idea. I'm like, I'm training for the world championships myself. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm trying to beat Russia on my own. I'm not trying to help him beat Russia.
That is well said. Has any MMA fighter ever reached out to you to help them? I mean, you got your own career.
have.
That has
I've had
happened,
a couple of guys that have reached out to me,
but it's
yeah.
never come to fruition.
It hasn't. It
Okay.
hasn't. It just hasn't worked out for me because I've got my own career, my own thing that I'm doing. But probably the guy that I've wrestled with most in MMA is Mirsad Bektik.
Uh-huh.
He actually lives in Nebraska, and so when he's not training with Fierce up in I believe he was training in Florida, and he does some stuff in Canada as well. But we've rolled around a couple of times, and so yeah, he's pretty solid.
Okay. So you're leaving to Buenos Aires this weekend. That's the Pan Am
Yeah.
Games. And when are the World Championships?
They aren't until September. We got some time.
Okay, so it's Pan Am, then it's Askren. Anything in between the Askren match and the World Championships, or you just spend the rest of that time preparing for the World Championships?
Whole team trials. We still got to make the team, bro.
Oh,
Like,
damn. Okay.
There's no roster in
Okay.
wrestling. You got to compete to make the team every single season. So there'll be a world team trials and then the world championships, and next year there'll be Olympic trials and the Olympic games. And so basically the trials are just a tournament at every weight class. The winner of that tournament goes on to represent the United States of America at the games or the world championships.
Wow, that's amazing. What a different
Yeah,
world
so
than the
it's
one
pretty cool.
that we currently. And you're in the Olympic Training Center right now, correct?
I'm in Colorado Springs as we speak. Yes, sir.
And what are you, like in a dorm or something?
Yeah.
Come
We're in
on, really?
Listen, we're humble living, bro.
Damn, you're
Humble
Jordan
living
Burroughs.
here.
You should have a
I
mansion
know,
over there.
man. I'm out here grinding. That's how you stay tough. That's how
Wow.
you stay tough. I like the grittiness that occurs when I'm here.
And I would imagine your relationship with USA Wrestling and the USOC is a little different. Like I know Ronda Rousey has spoken about how she has, not the best feelings now that she's out of that system. It seems like the experience has been good for you.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. They've always treated me well, and I've always earned that respect because of my performances and the way that I treat people. But they've always done an amazing job and treated me with the utmost respect and given me a status in terms of helping me to elevate my brand and connect with sponsors and take care of my family. They've done an amazing job. I'm always happy to be a part of USOC and USA Wrestling.
Well, I'm happy to talk to you for the first time. This has been great, Jordan. And
Yeah,
by
bro.
the way, I like the fact that I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, I like the fact that pro wrestling is what got you into this kind of wrestling, correct? Like you were a big Macho Man
I
fan
was
back in the day?
huge wrestling fan. Huge wrestling fan when I was a kid. Like I'm talking, we had all the action figures, we
Yes.
had the ring, we had fake belts. Like every
Yes.
time we go to Target when we were kids, we go straight to the aisle that they had all the
Yes.
wrestlers in. We see which new ones they had up. Like, oh, we need to get this one. And we used to play the video games Raw and SmackDown. Like we would make our own characters and like fight each other in the crib, jumping off the top of bunk beds, dropping elbows on people's heads. Like we were into it. We were into it when I was a kid. It was awesome, man.
That's incredible. And would you consider that, or you're not as into that, right?
No, I'm not as into that because that's more of like that's acting, right? Like I'm a competitor. Like I like to compete. I don't want someone to determine the status of my match before I even get out there to compete in it. It's fun to watch. I actually took my son to a Thursday night SmackDown that they had in Lincoln a few years ago. He was a bit confused. He was like, "Dad, what is this?" But it's fun, and I'm a big fan of it, and I've always appreciated it. So it's something that I always enjoy, and I always hold it near and dear to my heart because it's how I got started in the sport.
Jordan, I wish you the best. Good luck this weekend. Good luck on May 6th. Good luck making the team, World Championship, Olympic team, all that and more. This has been great. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely. One more thing before we go. Beat the Streets is an amazing organization that is run throughout all of the boroughs of New York City that helps to get kids off of the streets and into wrestling rooms and give them the opportunity to enhance their lives through the sport of wrestling. And so this is their biggest fundraiser. And not only do we have the match between me and Ben Askren, but a lot of great matchups between the U.S. team and college superstars. And so it's going to be a ton of fun. Make sure you tune in May 6th. 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be an amazing event. Ariel, thank you again for having me. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much, Jordan. We'll talk to you soon. All the best to you.
Yes, sir.
And I will give out some more information here on Beat the Streets NYC, courtesy of that great organization. It is a youth development organization that serves 3,500 male and female athletes across the 5 boroughs. We supply them with tutoring, mentorship, internships, and elite wrestling sports training in hopes to better prepare them for life and realize their full potential. Over 80% of the kids come from low-income, broken homes with little opportunities to succeed. We help them get access to a better life through our programs. The Grapple at the Garden event raises money for our organization. It is May 6th. As we said, it starts at 6 p.m. with the USA World Team versus College Division I All-Stars. As they told me here, they are selling out fast, so people should go to the website right now to buy ticket packages and general tickets through the Ticketmaster link on the site. You can get tickets over at btsny.org. That's www.btsny.org. So that's Jordan Burroughs, who was born on the same day as me, July 8th, but in 1998. I didn't know Jordan Burroughs is married to Thurman Thomas's niece. That's the most incredible thing I've ever heard. And how about that? One MMA fight for Jordan Burroughs before it's all said and done. If I was Bellator, who, famously paid Aaron Pico, right? They paid Aaron Pico to be part of their little training camp, if you will. They paid him for 2 years. I would do that. 2020 Olympic Games are not this summer. It was 2019, yeah. So not this summer, next summer. I would do that 100%. Put him on a little salary, give him a monthly stipend, and maybe 2021 have Jordan Burroughs make his MMA debut for you guys. Say, you know what? I'll give you one fight. Just get him in the system, get his feet wet, get him through a training camp, and then see what happens. That would be huge. Okay. Thank you very much to Jordan Burroughs. Now, there's a mea culpa from me. So, I screwed up my math. I think in Australia, did they change the clocks in Australia? What is going on? For Sunday of April. Was that the first Sunday of April? Or was that 2 Sundays ago? God, when I looked up the time. So, this is the thing. As I've told you guys before, I always feel very guilty when I ask the Australian fighters or New Zealand fighters to come on when they're home. Of course, Izzy was in Atlanta when we spoke to him, but when they're actually home because of the drastic time difference between here and Australia, here in New Zealand. And they're always very kind. They're always very gracious with their time. Whether it's Robert Whittaker, Mark Hunt, Alex Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya, all these people, always so gracious with their time. The math gets a little confusing for me. And on this particular case, I screwed up the math. And because we changed our clocks, they changed their clocks. I screwed up the math, and I'm an hour off. So it's currently 6:02 or 03 now. 6:03, the clock just changed right as I was talking. 6:03 in Sydney. And I told Robert Whittaker 7 a.m. I was 1 hour off. And that means there's a very good chance that he is sleeping right now. And that means that I feel horrible and that this is going to bother me for the next week. And so what I've asked is if we can reach out, but I feel horrible that we're reaching out. But he said his team tells me that he wakes up early because he has kids. Could we vamp for 10 minutes? This is going to kill me inside. A piece of me will die if we don't get this. But I also understand because it's technically my mistake. If we can all just put our positive thoughts into some way, somehow, Robert Whittaker has to wake up, get a glass of water, let the dog out, I don't know, brush his teeth, get dressed, get ready. Even by the way, even if it's not a Skype or a FaceTime, just a phone call, just a 5-minute convo, just a thought on Mr. Adesanya and the magnitude of that fight. I feel horrible. I mean, first the whole thing happened earlier with Khalil, now this. God. No. You got him? Oh my God. Corporate Jake just told me he got him. I feel so bad. I want to crawl into a ball right now. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm very sensitive. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I get very sensitive, but I can't believe it. I can't believe we actually got him. This is huge. This is one of the great moments in the history of the show. Okay, I'm going to talk very quietly because I don't want to wake him up. But in a matter of moments, I think, according to Corporate Jake, can you see the sweat pouring out of my nose? It's all shiny. That's how nervous I am.
I thought you said it was freezing in there.
Well, right now I'm sweating because I'm very nervous. I feel so bad. I won't be able to ever look at Robert Whittaker in the face because I screwed up. This is on me. When it's on someone else, I will call them out and tell them they screwed up. This one, 100% screw up. I have the proof. But I hope that we'll be joined by him in a matter of moments, him being Robert Whittaker, the reigning defending UFC middleweight champions. This setting up one of the biggest fights in the history of this sport in a stadium. Oh, my God, we're going to do him on the phone in 5 minutes. Did you say that to the world or just to me, Corporate Jake? Okay, Corporate Jake just told me, breaking news, we'll do him on the phone in 5 minutes. That's what he just said. Was he upset? Tell me, was he upset? Oh, my God. Corporate Jake said he's unsure. I never know if he's talking to me on the air or off the air, so I have to repeat. Is this on the air?
We will get to him in 5 minutes.
Oh, there he is. I could tell now a difference. But he wouldn't tell me if he's annoyed. Anyway, while we're waiting, a couple other things I wanted to get to before we'll say hello to the champion here. I hope we'll say hello to the champion. A couple other performances. Nikita Krylov, great performance on Saturday, avenging that loss to OSP. And it was a fight that happened 5 years ago. He lost via Von Flue choke. Now he comes back and wins via RNC. That was impressive for Nikita Krylov. How about Alexandre Pantoja with the big win over Wilson Hayes again? I'd like to think proving that the flyweight should stick around, but alas, I digress. Brandon Davis had the big win. Dwight Grant with a squeaker, if you will. Beanie Siegel, a.k.a. Beanie Siegel with the squeaker against Alan Jobin. I think Alan had a case for that. Maybe should have gone his way. Close one, but he was very fired up. Typically not fired up. How about the UFC giving out 2 Fight of the Night awards instead of performance bonuses? I thought in the end it was the right call. The co-main event between Gaslam and Adesanya got one, $50,000 each, and then the main event between Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway. And I would like to see Holloway go down to 145 now. Again, it didn't work out. I commend him for moving up. There did seem to be, he's very young, he's still 27, but there did seem to be a size advantage or disadvantage there for him, advantage for Dustin Poirier, and especially if Alex Volkanovski wins on May 11th. I mean, if Alex Volkanovski beats Jose Aldo on May 11th, how do you deny him a shot at Max Holloway? I mean, I just don't see how there's anyone else. I know Frankie Edgar's out there. Frankie Edgar hasn't fought in a year. He hasn't fought since April of last year. Meanwhile, Volkanovski's beating Mendez. He would have beaten Jose Aldo. I have a hard time. Not giving him the nod there. So Volkanovski versus Holloway would be a really fun fight, but I do think Holloway should go down. You may have seen, we spoke about it a little bit with Dominick Cruz, but Tj Dillashaw has come out. He has talked about his mistake. USADA did announce that he tested positive for EPO, which is essentially blood doping. If you don't usually listen to my other podcast, which comes out on Wednesday, it's called the MMA Reporters. We actually had my partner, Chael Sonnen, who we co-host Ariel and the Bad Guy together. Oh, God. Okay. Anyway, so anyhow, I got all out of sorts there because of the whole time difference thing. I'm just gonna put my anyway. Focus, Jake. Focus, corporate Jake. Wait, someone write to me here? No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it back there. We're all good. So EPO, blood doping. Lance Armstrong famously was caught for it. Chael was famously caught for it. Gleison Tebow has been caught for it. And he's going to be out for 2 years now. And I think that obviously, like, the fact that he's not owning up to it is totally fine. The fact that he's not making an excuse is what I mean. He's not coming up with an alibi. He's not coming up with a different set of stories. Like, he's literally just sitting there and taking it. He had shoulder surgery. He's probably going to have another one. Like I said in MMA Reporters, I thought his team wasn't really doing him any favors, like to say, like, oh, we had no idea. EPO, I'm no expert when it comes to these things, but from all the conversations that I've had, is a very complex PED, and it's not one that you could just go and pop a pill. It's injectable. It's a little more involved. So the idea that, he just kind of went into business on his own is a little surprising to me, but I don't know if I respect the fact that they're backing him, but it seems like a bit of a stretch that they wouldn't come out and explain a little more while he's being so honest. Like TJ has offered no excuses whatsoever. He is owning up to this, and you can feel differently about him. You can feel as though his legacy has been tainted. You can feel as though his accomplishments aren't as impressive as you once thought. All those things and more. You have every right to feel that way. Unfortunately, these are the kinds of things that are hard to shake. But in our sport, if there's one thing that I've learned, fans are forgiving. For whatever reason, in baseball, they aren't as forgiving. That's something that a lot of baseball players like Roger Clemens, like Barry Bonds, like Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, a lot of them haven't been welcomed back with open arms, haven't been inducted into the Hall of Fame when their stats would certainly warrant it. I have found that MMA fans, for whatever reason, are a lot more forgiving, and I think the first step to be forgiven is to handle it the way in which TJ has handled it. And I think by the way, I think it helps that he is coming off a loss. Had he gone in there and smoked Cejudo and won 2 titles, I do feel like, in a weird way, the backlash would have been worse. And I also feel as though the fact that he is a champion, unlike Chael, unlike Gleison Tebow, I think hurts him a little bit because it's a very public display that you're now no longer champion. You're being, you're having the title taken away. I know he said that he voluntarily gave up the belt, but let's be honest, he would have had the title taken away anyway. So anyhow, I understand the reaction. Okay. Now, with my tail between my legs, we will go to our next guest, and I will say I am profusely sorry. Robert, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, mate.
Robert, I am so sorry. This is 100% on me. I got screwed up with the math. It's so confusing. I'm so dumb. I've always been bad at math. I am so sorry for calling you so early. I really, really apologize.
Don't worry about it, mate. I was up anyway.
Oh my God, my heart is bleeding right now, Robert. But you are an absolute class act. So thank you so much for doing this. I won't waste a lot of your time. First things first, I want to just know, how are you feeling? We heard about you getting back into the gym, feeling better. Do you feel like you are 100%?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling great. So I'm 100% healthy, and I'm back at the gym. I'm back at full training, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this next one.
No limitations whatsoever. You feel like you can go 100% out there?
None at all. And, I guess that was the blessing of finding out the illness that I had when I did, before it could have got worse. And I had like lifetime long penalties,
Okay. The other big question, of course, everyone wondering, did you watch the Israel Adesanya-Kelvin Gastelum fight on Saturday or Sunday your time?
No, yes, I did. And what a fight it was, correct?
It was an incredible fight. As of right now, I think it's the fight of the year. I don't know what it's. What about these interim middleweight title fights? But the last one that we had with you and Yoel Romero was phenomenal. This one was phenomenal in its own right. Did you think Izzy won the fight? I do. I think he did enough to win. But in saying that, if they would have awarded it to Kelvin that night, I wouldn't have distributed it at all, because it was a close fight.
I think Israel did just enough at the end in round 5, the last round, to leave a strong impression in the judges' minds.
Were you impressed with his performance? Because I know last time we spoke, you said, you weren't all that impressed with his win over Anderson Silva. This time around, were you more impressed with his performance?
It was definitely a more impressive fight than when he fought Anderson Silva. I think this fight forced him to draw a little bit more out of the tank, a little bit more willpower, a bit more heart. You can see in the fight his ups and downs, his trials and obstacles he had to get over, the adversity he had to get through to make sure he lasted until the end of the fight. But look, I thought it was an amazing fight from both guys.
Was a part of you pulling for Izzy because of the stakes, because of how big your fight against him would be, because of the talk of the stadium and 55,000 plus? Like, did you feel like, okay, this is better for me if he wins the fight?
Not really, to be honest. I would have been happy fighting Kelvin. He's a hard fight as well. I would have been happy either way, to be honest.
Izzy was on our show earlier, and you've probably seen some of the things that he's said about you, but there does seem to be some friction there between you two. It seems like his big issue is that when you see each other, you just shake his hand, you're pleasant as you typically are, but then in interviews, you're a little more critical of him, and he doesn't seem to like that. What is your response to some of the things that he has said about you in the post-fight press conference and the build-up to this last fight?
I gotta say, I don't understand why this guy is getting such a rise out of what I've said. The only critical thing I've ever said about him was that I don't think he's as good as he thinks he is. And it's like, you can take that how you want, but it makes it sound like I'm talking behind his back all the time. And, that's just how I feel. Sorry it gets you so upset. He just needs to relax. I thought he had a great win on the weekend. And it seems like every time someone asks him a question or they put the spotlight on him for 2 seconds, he can't help himself but mention my name. And, it's a little concerning, to be honest.
Why is it concerning?
Because I'm the only thing in his head. and surely he could be using his spotlight for other purposes, for instance, he's calling me like a fake New Zealander, a fake Australian. Wow, they're pretty heavy comments, and when he could be using his spotlight to further other purposes, like myself. Whenever the spotlight is put onto me, I get to plug my educational programs. I'm bringing educational programs to New Zealand next year. A lot of people don't know this, but this is one of the things that I'm working on right now with my team, and. I guess the only thing that Israel can talk about is me. I'm flattered, to be honest.
Do you feel like any of the things that he has said about you have crossed the line, have been too personal?
Nah, not really. He's anything that crosses the line, it all matters. It all depends how you could take it. So some things I think are ridiculous. Like when he says that I'm a fake Aussie, fake New Zealander, that's just ridiculous. And I don't think anyone really pays any mind to it. Because if I'm a fake New Zealander, then what is he? It's just one of those things. And as for every time I see him, I'm very personable. I have no beef with him at all. If he wants me to be critical every time I see him and to sit him down and we can have coffee and we can go over every fault that I see in his game, I'll do that if he wants to. Oh. Otherwise, I'll just say, hey, how you doing? And keep my mouth shut. And, any differences we have, for whatever reason he's made them personal, we'll sort out in the octagon sooner or later.
But you have noticed that it does seem like he perks up when he talks about you, right? It does seem like he gets riled up when the topic of you and your championship and you being a champion gets brought up. Have you noticed that? Yeah,
it's personally, I think because he can't stand the fact that people like me more than him, and even if they don't, He can't stand the fact that people are talking about me in the same sentence as him. He just can't do it. He wants all the spotlight. He wants all the attention. And he can have it. Like I've never cared. But I find it funny that it gets to him so much. Like, just relax, man. Great fight. You got yourself a shiny belt. We can fight for my line later.
He has said, he has the new title. You have the old title. He's the real champion. You're not. Does that talk bother you?
Nah. Should it?
I don't know.
No, because he can say whatever he wants, because we're going to meet in a few months' time, and any talk is done. Anything he says, old, new, this, that, none of it's going to matter. I'm going to see you across from the octagon, and I'm going to go hell for leather. And you know what? If he beats me, he beats me. Good on him. He would have earned his place. But I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen.
So would it be fair to say you're a little confused by all of this, by these comments?
I think not confused, because if I sit down intellectually, I can see why he's doing a lot of stuff. He just needs to relax, though. He just needs to relax. He needs to soak in everything he's done. He's done some good things, and I'm going to get to him sooner or later.
You said that he's not as good as he thinks he is. After Saturday, should he think that he is that good? Does that change your stance on him?
Not at all. Not at all. I think he's a very good fighter. Even when I said this comment, I said he's a very good fighter. I don't know why he got so personally insulted by it. To be honest, if you watch the fight, you can see the holes that were there every fight before. They just got exposed bigger.
Wow.
There are a lot of holes. There are a lot of things that Gastelum exploited, and there are a lot of things that Gastelum could have exploited, but couldn't because of his makeup, because of his striking style, because of his height, his reach. And Gastelum was getting in. Gastelum was landing that left. I'll get in. I'll land my right. I'm much faster than Gastelum. I'm a better striker. I'm more comfortable there. I stay on the outside. I don't stay in that mid ground. Israel should be very worried. I'm a very hard fight.
What are the bigger holes that you noticed on Saturday?
Israel doesn't like getting hit, and he's very, very hittable. And that's it. I hit hard. I like hitting people. I can get in, and I can do the damage. I can do the work. And if he can weather the storm, and he can take my shots for 5 rounds and counter and do everything he did with Gastelum, then congratulations to him. He'll win X, Y, and Z. But I don't think he's going to. I'm a different fighter to Gastelum. I bring much more heat. I hit harder. I hit faster. I'm going to come there with a new level of intensity he's not used to.
Did his takedown defense surprise you at all?
Did Gastelum shoot very well?
Okay.
No, this is no disrespect to Gastelum at all. I just think Gastelum's whole intention wasn't really to try to attack for the takedown. He wasn't trying to. And this is my humble opinion, honestly.
Sure.
If he did, and I mistook it, then that's on me and not him. But it looked like Gastelum went out there with a great approach to the striking game, which I think he did a wonderful job doing. And then his takedown attacks and the threat of the takedown was an afterthought or something he tried throwing in there in moments when maybe he shouldn't have. But I don't think the whole goal for Gastelum was to get in there and land the takedowns and cover that grappling, because he was having such success on his hands. He went out there in my mind. He went out there with a game plan that was very heavily focused on striking, and he implemented that very well. Even with the height and reach difference, he got in, and when he landed shots, he hurt Israel, and he landed a head kick. It was super effective. Come on, man.
I had heard that they were shooting for end of July, early August to have you two fight in a big stadium in Australia. Are you hearing the same?
I haven't heard too much just yet, but mate, third time's a charm. If I can get in Australia, surely it's this time.
Does that time frame work for you?
It does. I was always penciling in August, and so the the timeline and the dates work out perfectly. Obviously, got to see how Izzy heals up. You know, I wish him a speedy recovery. That was a hard fight, and he's obviously got to lick his wounds. But yeah, you know, that's the date I had penciled in.
Well, the reason I ask you is because he told us the time frame doesn't work for him. He wants a little more time off. How do you feel about that, if it would be later?
Well, I guess that's for something him and my team and the UFC and everyone's got to discuss. Yeah. I've never really been the one who. The thing is, I've never really been one that has stuck by a hard timeline ever of when I can fight. Like, I'm one of those guys that, you know, when the ties are on and they're good, I go out there and race.
UFC 193 was a huge deal in Melbourne with the 55,000 tickets sold. Jeff Horn versus Manny Pacquiao in Brisbane was a huge deal. Do you feel like this could be bigger than all of that? Do you feel like we can sell out a stadium here and get 50, 60,000 people in there, maybe even more?
We could definitely get more. This will be the biggest combat sports event in the Australian-New Zealand market.
Wow.
Mark my words.
How big can you think? How many tickets do you think we could sell here? How big could it get?
We can definitely cap we can definitely cap 55,000, and that's a big number. That's a big stadium. That's a very, very big stadium. So we can. I have the utmost confidence that we can top that number.
Is there a specific city in Australia that you want? Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. Is there a specific one?
Definitely Sydney. I want it in Sydney. I want it in my backyard.
Okay.
I haven't fought here since my middleweight debut, and I really want to do that. It's one of the things I want to do. I want to defend my belt in Sydney, home ground, backyard. And
considering the incidents that happened the last two times you were scheduled to fight in Australia, any concerns about going back?
Not at all. Like I said, third time's a charm. So yeah, I have very high hopes, and I'm very excited for the fight to come back here in Australia, and I'll be ready.
We'll leave it at that. Robert, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough, and I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't bother your family, wake you guys up. I hope I didn't piss off your manager, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're an absolute gentleman, a class act. Thank you for doing this. You're fine, mate. Thank you so much for having me. You're always good to me. All right, I appreciate it. There he is, Robert Whittaker. He can go back to bed. And I apologize, and I want to thank the team in the back there for calling and for it's all my fault. Everyone blame me. Everyone hate me. It's my fault. I suck at math. That's why I do this for a living. I'm the worst. So, Corporate Jake, voice of God, everyone, I'm sorry. Anyhow, I'm out of time. You can play my music. If you want me to walk out right now, I can walk out. I just feel horrible. I feel horrible waking him up. But by the way, can I just say, that's the best Robert Whittaker interview I've ever done. That was incredible. He is fired up. Fired up as Robert Whittaker is going to be. But did you guys notice that? Did you sense that? That was the best Robert Whittaker that I've ever heard. This is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, anywhere. Auckland, I don't care where. Somewhere, it has to be in that vicinity. Do not bring it to the United States. Do not bring it to some random country. It has to be in either Australia, New Zealand, probably Australia because that's where he lives. And, that's where he has spent the majority of his recent years. But wow, what a scene that would be. All right, fun show in the books. Very fun show in the books. I want to thank all our guests. I want to congratulate Israel Adesanya. I want to congratulate Dustin Poirier. Thanks to all of you who tuned in. Thank you to Israel Adesanya for joining us. Thank you, Dominick Cruz. All the best to him. Thank you, Valentina Shevchenko. Thank you, Brandon Davis. Thank you, Khalil Rountree. Thank you, and welcome back to Daniel Straus. Thank you, Mike Brown. Thank you very much to Jordan Burroughs. And again, thank you so much to Robert Whittaker. All right, if you missed anything, check it out. YouTube, Twitter, the app, all those places and more, iTunes as well. Back next week, same time and place. Until then, I say peace. I'm out of here.